Plane. First game. Very straightforward. Not too much there. Face gonna go north. We've seen them do that every time. Every time the plane's been east, we've seen Face do that. And people say, I remember the first time they did it on day 1, everybody was like, no, oh no, it was on day 2. Everybody was like, oh my god, Face, why are they changing up their loot spot? Shouldn't they go Mount Nuevo? Sure, I'm sure that they would love to go Mount Nuevo, but look at this. If you see the plane path, it's not straight at all. But look at the plane path, right? And then look at how they can get over there. I mean, you cannot fly from here over here. That's simply, I mean, the distance is simply too far. So if they wanted to go Mount Nuevo, either they would have to jump out early, go down here for vehicles, and then spend time driving all the way up here. That would be one way. And sometimes there are teams going Valle del Mar, so they might just even be contested in doing so. Secret, they could go down there. Way number 2 would be to jump out. Oops, there you go. Would be to jump out down here and take vehicles and then drive over here. But then they would be contesting Liquid and Cloud9 potentially for vehicles. So you don't want to have that happen. Option number 3, jump out up here, take vehicles and drive down. But then you would be contesting Knights for vehicles. So the only, and you could also jump up here, but that would be Divine, right? So the only real time at which they can leave the plane without being contested by anyone is this late, because they know that nobody goes Alcantara, and they know that Divine goes El Pozo, but they don't really go out on the backside of El Pozo. So La Cuperia is pretty much the only place they can go where they'll be on their own. So pretty simple, but also pretty smart from Face. Other than that, nothing too exciting. Other than the fact that Liquid this game. Look at this. Liquid, they decide to go Picado. So Liquid, hot drops. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't think it's a hot drop at all. It's just smart. They surprise Cloud9 by going Picado. Now, I mean, they've been used to, especially with the planes like these, right? They've been used to flying next to Liquid all the time over in this direction. So they probably don't think much of it. They probably don't think much of, oh, well, we're flying next to Liquid, because when we go down, they'll keep going and then they'll take the buildings around here, right? So the fact that they dive in now forces Cloud9, because Cloud9 was currently sitting in first place at this point. So that forces Cloud9 to go, holy shit, we need to back off or do something, because we don't want to fight early game, obviously. So Liquid, they of course just commit to their drop. Cloud9 tries to back out. Profi is somewhat caught inside the city, and all the other guys are forced to kind of scavenge loot without really having anything organized in that way. So Liquid push them out. Profi makes a run for it. I believe he gets away as well. Liquid stop chasing and they get the loot. And now kind of their mission is successful here, because you see now Profi is running up towards Moody. Moody has already looted all of this, so Profi will have to continue somewhere else to find loot, and he's gonna be what do you say, like he's gonna be very delayed as far as loot goes, so Cloud9 won't be able to rotate in early like we've seen them do before. So might not mean that they all get killed because they get dropped on, but it messes up their kind of scheduling and like how they want to play the game. The Prof is still running. He doesn't have a vehicle yet. He's running around down here. Navi, they're already done looting. They're making a southern rotation, knowing that Face didn't go out south and that Snakes didn't go Valle del Mar either. They'll make a rotation down south. M19 going from eastern Las Leones, expecting there to always be a Liquid team down here. Of course, they don't want to rotate straight through Liquid, so they want to go underneath as well, resulting in them driving pretty much side by side with Navi through Valle del Mar. You actually see how close they end up being to each other. They pretty much come down on the road right next to each other, and then yeah, it all gets a little chaotic, but they do manage to avoid confrontation there. So all four alive in both teams. And then as we see teams rotating further in towards the circle, it's coming to a close. Ghost, they try to go over the hills here, getting inside the circle from the northeast side. Again, coming in late, so they'll, if they get hard shifted away from, they'll have to do a counter rotate to what they've done already. Now Secret, they rotate up from south. Makes sense. They don't want to go, as we said before, up through potentially Liquid and other teams. So Ghost, they're not even in yet. I mean, you see Extreme 2G is all the way back here. Frolicher, he's so far up that we cannot even see his name. They're rotating up around or underneath Oasis, and they'll get a spot on the northern side of the circle. But again, if the circle goes south, they're pretty much screwed because there's so many teams here already, right? And there are still teams rotating in from the south. So now, as you see here, a lot of these teams, they try to force themselves inside the city. One of the first teams to get up here was Divine. Divine, they're the black ones. They were sitting up on the hills here, and they pushed down to the warehouse. So just keep in mind that they're sitting here at the beginning of this circle, while everyone else is trying to figure out how and where they want to go. Divine is already sitting inside this warehouse. It's a good spot. It has a broken wall pretty much all the way around it. And it's not part of the city, so if the city gets clustered and you fight in there, you don't have to force a fight. From this position, there's some hills on this side where you can't really take fire from within the city. So even if you have to push out, you'll have some dips and areas to play around to your advantage. They're sitting in there. Navi's sitting across the street. Face is still up on the hills, hoping that the circle won't go down to the city, but they do have Fuzzface down there. So instead of saying we'll sit 4 guys up here and not chill out, but play it safe from this position, they instead say we'll send Fuzzface down. He can secure an area for us so that if the circle goes in there, at least he'll be able to sit here and like shoot at people coming in from whatever direction, and also keep an area secure for us. Did Prophet just eliminate the Liquid member? 1, 2, 3. James is seemingly dead. James is alive there. Alive. 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 Dead. Nerfed it. Yeah, I mean they were rotating behind them, and I believe that either they were expecting people to come from behind, or they just, I mean, they knew that a team was rotating behind them. Might as well set up a trap because they can still easily rotate in themselves. Only issue being, they all stopped, right? So you can see they all stopped their vehicles here. Nerf stops as well. He took out James, and they might get a kill off of this. And also thank you, Pandix, for the follow. They might get a kill off of this, which I guess it's good. It's against the team that dropped on them, so that's all good. But they're wasting a lot of time that they could have gotten getting a better position in the circle. Keep that in mind. They stay out here, they get the knock, which is good, but look at what ends happening because they stay out here. They're playing a really slow. Now Moody is rotating forward again. They probably sit here for like 35-40 seconds, which technically, when you think about it, isn't a long time. But look at what ends up happening. So they get in with the circle, right? Ibiza and Mr. Samty trying to go underneath. Vitality already sitting down here. They're taking some shots at them. Now, the other teams are rotating forward. Again, they are far out on the edge. So the circle goes further up towards Cabrera. Base rotate down into the city. Cloud9 is forced to sit on the edge because Navi and Divine kind of already took the 2 positions that were worth playing for. Oh, Navi and Divine, I mean, sorry, not Cloud9. Paranga pushes back to his teammates. Fighting up on the hills. That's Vici Gaming and NIP. They start fighting. NBS is all by himself. He gets eliminated. So that's going to be... oh, hey. There we go. Sorry. Hey, Pants. Thank you. Here you go. City goes city. City. Circle goes city-ish. I mean, there's still obviously the hillside down here. Divine, they're sitting outside. Vitality sitting in Crater. I mean, they have a huge freaking wall up here, right? They cannot scout forward. They cannot see anything. They might be able to see that M19 is up on the hill, but they have to push in blind. They have to go up, check one thing, go up, check one thing, go up. Like, they need so many checkpoints to get in, and this circle closes surprisingly fast. So it shifts to the southern side, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams, technically 6 teams outside the circle now that all have to make their way in. Look at what happens. Frolicher and Liquid, they're all forced to just bomb it into the city. I mean, this is where you have all those like train track thingies. Kind of surprising because there's not really any train tracks here, and there's no train tracks here, so I don't really know where this train station comes from. It's a little confusing. No, but everyone's forced inside the city. Secret and Ghost, they land on top of each other. Fortunately, Ghost get in before Secret, so they are able to take a position off of that. Navi deciding to go underneath. They take fire from Divine, but they continue going underneath here anyway. They get up on the hilltop. Vitality, obviously hearing that, they want to rotate around on the south, but they're only on foot, I believe. I don't think Vitality has any vehicles at this point. We'll have to see if I'm wrong. Oh, they do have vehicles. You can see they're rotating pretty fast here. So City, obviously, and at this point I had a pretty good indication that Divine would get top 3 because, first of all, no team is going to push from inside the city out to them. It's simply not possible. This area is completely unplayable. So they'd just be able to sit and plow you down. Also, the teams that were up here would third party, so that's not gonna happen. The teams that are sitting up here, they could technically push down to the warehouse, but again, it's extremely risky, and they are inside the circle where they are. So I would be very surprised to see that happening. And also, if you go down like this, first of all these other teams will hear you, and they'll be shooting at you as well, right? So nobody ever really pushes Divine to that extent. Right now, there are only 2 players alive. Keep that in mind. Navi and Vitality end up fighting. Vitality played it super smart. Navi came up to this position. They heard them. They pushed around. And they took them out from the side. Really smart play from Vitality. Unfortunately, Example and the other guys from M19, they sort of third-partied that one. So Yannick goes down, and Shadow is now all by himself. And in the end, Ripperoni gets eliminated. New circle pops, and again, Cloud9 still on the edge because they weren't in a position earlier to come in and get a center position, right? They're forced to play edge yet again. Circle, well, pretty center. Not really a whole lot to it. Half city, half hill. This is all like hillside up in this direction. The city is in. Divine has half their compound in, from which they don't have to do anything. Like, they can just chill and let everyone in here do the heavy lifting. Vici and M19, they're kind of sharing the hills. All the mountains. Example gets knocked. Wanderer runs over to get the res onto him. I believe he does manage to do so. Yep, Constantine now all by himself against Vici Gaming. And they just take a fight on this. And usually now is the time that Cloud9 tries to push across. With the circle closing in, and I'm not sure what happens here, because look at this, look at this. We'll slow it down so it's only double speed, right? So Cloud9, they're sitting in this compound out here. They've heard that Ghosts have been shooting. I'm not sure if Ghosts were shooting at them, but they heard Ghosts shooting. I think they've been shooting at Face. So they know there's a team like somewhere over here, right? If you're going to go over to this compound, which makes sense, I guess, you could, it's the edge is in, you might see that it's Divine and they don't have that many players alive. But if you're gonna push this compound, and this is just something that surprised me. You see, Nerfy tries to make a big flank around, goes out in the blue even to do so. K-Mind and Moody, they want to go over there as well. But they all go, like, these guys are shooting at them. The only one that really forces, like, his way forward to go inside is Profi, and he gets eliminated. Had they all just sent it straight into the compound, they would have been in the 4v2, could have won it. But now you have Nerf, Miles out in the blue. You have K-Mind and Moody, they're going to be inside the blue as well. And Tuan and Nikki, they blow up their vehicle. So they're just sitting out in the blue without being in a position to really do anything at all. Again, Divine, they don't have to worry about people pushing here, because that's never going to happen. All they need to worry about right now is making sure that Cloud9 does not get inside the zone. They blow up the vehicle, they do everything they can to keep them at bay, and in the end, I believe all 3 of them, actually, all 3 of the guys from Cloud9 died to blue here. They don't give up, obviously, but there's just nothing they can do from this position. So surprising to me that they decide to swerve right, and that Nerf, the first runner, goes over on the other side instead of just sending it straight in. That was like a last resort type thing, and had they not been sitting down here waiting for teams, they could potentially have gotten up and gotten a more centered position earlier. So they end up going out in, I believe, 9th or 10th place. I believe from Wednesday we'll have like kill feed and everything in here, so that's gonna be real good. Yeah, 9th place. Vetra, thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, it's pretty interesting that they decided to play it that way. I just watched it and I was like, wait, what are they doing out there? But unfortunately, stuff like that does happen. Now, new circle pops. We'll just fast forward it a bit. Face, they're sitting pretty centered. Fortunately for them, they have the school building here to work around. Mr. sneaks his way inside that one. 2-1 goes up to scout. I mean, this is where I like how Divine plays. Because the analysts, they try to emphasize that they do like Divine type things. But no, honestly, I think they do. I don't think they're doing things that other teams don't. They just do what other teams do, but more thorough, if you know what I mean. Where teams say, I'll scout this, look at it. I'll scout this, look at it. Let's go. Divine is way more, I will scout this. Now I'm looking at this for the next 30 seconds. Like, they spend more time making sure that their rotations are smart. So they will not rotate unless if they know that they can do it. And that's why you see them go out in 11th place sometime. Because they try to scout, they see nothing is open, and then it becomes kind of a, what should we do? And then they get screwed over by it, right? But when they do have the chance, like when they have the time to scout forward, to play it smart, they just come up with some really smart plays. They never really have a lot of kills in the early game. The games where they had a lot of kills were all games where like they just took out players in the end. Hey Andy, it's a creation from Other Production that I'm testing out for them right now. Yeah, that's pretty much the best I can say. I'm testing out like this thing, game review program for them, but you can't really get it anywhere because it's still in testing phase. No, so 2-1 runs up to the shack or the shelter, stays put up there, tries to scout further forward. M19, they're still up on the hilltop. They're potentially a threat to Divide, but they decide to drive down. There's like a ridge here on the road that they can play from. Buzzface and Face, they get pushed by Ghost. Again, sort of a last resort thing. They heard Snake and Atletico fight down here, so they didn't want to swoop around that way. So the only thing they could really do was say 3, 2, 1 YOLO and then push straight into Face. I believe 2 of them get knocked pretty much instantly. And then the other guys, they go down. Yeah, Frolicher and McCoy, they get knocked and then they get taken down in the end. And now Divine, they found themselves a new dip. They both came up here. Heard the fights going on over here, so they know, okay, if Face is occupied with Ghost, then we will have time to rotate out. Perfect. Smart timing. You see, the last guy doesn't run out. He's still sitting there, and now that he hears the shots firing, Nikki pushes across. Smart play. Again, very, very textbook how you want to do it. Wait for your moment, like your opportunity, boom, and then you go. Example and Wonder, they're proning up by the road here, trying not to attract too much attention. And now with the next circle, and this is I kind of wanted to say this, but I didn't know if I should at the time of the game. This dip up here, I was gonna say whatever team can get this dip earliest will win the game. Like whatever team gets up here the fastest will have to win, because all these guys, not Mr., but all these teams will have to, like Knights, Snake, and Atletico, they'll be fighting, so there's probably gonna be 1 or 2 people coming out of that alive. Then you got Example and M19. If anybody goes over here, they'll shoot at them. And also, they'll probably try to cut across as well, because they can prone on the southern side of the road. Face, they have to go somewhere, and odds are that they'll I thought either they would go out here, or they would go in here. Or even maybe split, so you had 1 and 2, like 2 in here and 1 here, or the other way around. Maybe 2 here because it's in the city, and send 1 guy out to take position out here, which they never did. I thought they were going to do that, but that never happened. Maybe if they would have been 4, they would have done that instead. So all these teams start fighting. A circle starts closing in momentarily. Mista is just chilling inside the house there, trying to stay alive. Snake, they're trying to crawl forward. Chan gets knocked. CKK gets I mean, he gets himself a position that he can play from, but it's not really the best area for him to sit. Now circle goes across, and again, even more so, this dip right here. Whatever team can get out there is going to be in a great spot, because the last circle after this one is going to be the center one, right? So if you can sit out here and just take out people, because these guys will have to cut across before you have to leave here. The guys in the house will have to leave the house before you have to leave here. The guys down here, if they're in the open, will have to push in center before you have to leave here. So this is a really, really, really great spot. And what better team to just full-on YOLO push over there as the circle comes to a close. And Niki takes the bike, sends it across. 2-1 comes across as well, and they're now both in a really good spot over there. Now the I don't know why, but the logos of the people are a little off center. So I believe Nikki is sitting here and 2ons is sitting here. And so just to keep in mind that it's a little off, but it is something that's gonna get fixed. FaZe, they eliminate Mista, then they fight M19, and then all of a sudden it's a 1v2 or a 2v3, and FaZe take the win. So pretty much textbook smart play from all the teams. Divine, they had some really smart pushes. Like the way they played the late game was really smart. FaZe, the fact that they sent down Phosphase early while they still had 3 guys up here. Really smart. They made some room, and then because they were able to pretty much take whatever they wanted based on the fact that Phosphase was able to give them the info needed to what was available, they managed to get the best position in the city and they won the game off of it. So smart plays coming in from both those teams. And also M19, I mean, they played it super safe, didn't want to engage anything, had a good dip up here, and they get 3rd place on that. So I mean, when you're only 2 guys alive and you don't want to take confrontations, 3rd place is pretty much the best you can hope for. So smart. Let's see, what did we get? FaZe had 17 kills. Phosphase over 1,000 damage. Example had 6 kills. Yeah, overall, pretty well done by them. Game number 2. Oh wait, we're on. Our info is wrong, guys. Why haven't you said anything? A 4 game 2 breakdown. Now it's off center. This is not pleasing my OCD. That's better. It's not center at all. I just won't look at it anymore. So game 2. Do you have any questions after that game? Hey, Cybone, how are you doing, buddy? Any questions that you guys may have after this game? Let me know. Always, if you have questions regarding anything going on, feel free to ask. I'll do my my very best to answer. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, it was pretty clear. I agree with you. Not a whole lot to it, really. The beginning because they wanted to reclaim Picado. I think. Why did NA win? Boomer, I think it was mainly because they wanted to disrupt. I mean, of course, they hoped that they could get. The only way that they can win is to take out Cloud9. And they tried to do that, but that didn't work. At least not that game. I mean, they got better placement than Cloud9, so in that sense, it made sense. No, but other than that, they just did it to disrupt them, I think. With that, though, game number 2, FaZe again. Somewhat Eastern Plain. No reason for them to... We talked about that before, but no reason for them to fight for vehicle spawns in any of these 3 locations, so they might as well just jump out early and take Oparia. Knights go out Liquid once again, going Picado, forcing the guys from Cloud9 to loot elsewhere, but they were already, this time around, they were all prepared for it, right? So now we got a Southern Circle. These ones are interesting. Most of the tournament? Nah, they didn't, pants. Only on the last day. They only got jumped down last day. They didn't get hot dropped any other points of the tournament. Not a lot, Sprinkle. We're looking through yesterday's PGL games. That's about it. Trying to figure out how things went down and what happened. And for people that might have questions, they can... Hello, Mr. Fly. Why are you flying into my face? For people that might have questions, they can ask. Pretty simple PUBG analysis. Yeah, it's pretty much it. You're not sure why? I can explain that. Well, you know what? Let's just we'll go back to the beginning. Look at this. This is the plane path, right? I'm gonna draw it as best as I can. Damn it. Damn it. That's, you don't get it any better than that, sorry. So this is the plane, right? If you want to fly from here all the way over here, you would have to early shoot like a crazy person if you want to fly this entire distance. That's one thing. Thing number two is that FaZe, of course, have seen game number 1, and they've seen that Liquid has pushed out Cloud9. So before, Liquid used to drop around these buildings down here, right? And loot, and Cloud9 would be, we'll colorize it like this so it makes sense. And Cloud9 would be inside of Picado. Now, with Cloud9 pushed out of Picado, they could go here, they could even go all the way up here to loot. You don't really know it because Cloud9, like you haven't really seen any video on them doing that, so you don't know which buildings they'll go for. That's one thing. So this area is pretty much not up for grabs as far as vehicles go. FaZe and Knights, of course, loot Power Grid and the buildings up here, so they're gonna fly, like they're gonna take control of this entire area for vehicles. Divine, they go El Pozo, and they like to land early around here for vehicles. And if they sit too far, like much further, they'll have to fight other teams for vehicles too. Which means that the only place that FaZe can jump out without having to early shoot would be La Copperia. And even more so, think about it this way. This is a pretty, I mean, the map technically is only as big as Erangel, right? But think about it this way. FaZe, they jump out right as the plane like allows you to press F. They jump, like pretty much jump out immediately. You can see it here. Like as soon as the plane comes in, they're already out of the plane, right? So they jump out immediately. My bet is that FaZe, they land inside the city. Like they will be on the ground starting their loot phase before Na'Vi even leaves the airplane. So by the time that Pokemolodoy is out of the plane, he's not even down in the city yet. By the time he's out of the plane, FaZe has already looted 3 or 4 buildings down here. And now I know the circle goes south, so it kind of evens it out. But think about it this way. For a team in FaZe, they want to rotate early. They need to get kills. They need to like get back in first place. If they can get looted before these guys even get down to Puerto Paraíso, why not land up here? I mean, it doesn't. Now they do get hard shifted away from, obviously, with the first circle, but it's a pretty, I mean, it's a pretty smart drop for them. It's out early. They get looted up extremely quickly. And then they can just go wherever they want. They could be down by Chumacera in the vehicles by the time that other teams are leaving their loot spawns. So that's pretty much the reason why. So circle goes south, as we saw. Divine, they're going, as you could see here, Divine, they're splitting up this area. If FaZe had jumped down there for vehicles, that would have screwed them over, right? Knights, they're completely split up over here for vehicles. They could have jumped down here, but you don't know that in advance, so you don't want to fight anything. See, Jet and Tuans, they're both coming with vehicles from there. Pokemoldoy saying, you know what, instead of looting these buildings right here, I'll just go more center, start looting up in here. Makes perfect sense. Ghost, they decide to rotate early this time. Keep that in mind, because Ghost, they've been like on the edge of every single circle in the game, so up until now. But rotating early, it's not up every single game, but a lot of them, they've been playing very late in the first circles. So now they rotate early. FaZe still looting up. They'll start their rotation now as well. Divine, they're already out. FaZe, they're not in a hurry to get in fast. They're not in a hurry at all. They know that they've been hard shifted away from. Take your time to loot. Get looted. Everybody will try to go center, and they don't want to cluster with any teams out here on the west side anyway. They know nobody gone Monte Nuevo, so they can drive through that city because that's where they dropped, right? So they can even go for some extra loot there. They actually loot that on the way down because they know it's free. So tic-tac all the way down. Get inside the circle with plenty of meds, plenty of ammo, plenty of utility, and then take it from there. And now we get to the fun part. Circle 2, pups. Fortunately, we go somewhat away from water. That's a good thing, right? Let me just take a sip of coffee. And again, any questions you may have, fire away. That's what we're here for. So Circle goes north. The cast was talking about how Liquid looted outside Picado before, so they could gatekeep. I don't think the purpose of them to loot there was to gatekeep Cloud. I mean, they did gatekeep them in the sense that for this. I mean, there wasn't a lot of southern circles in any of these games on Miramar, like any of PGL. Most of the circles were like either east somewhere, pretty center, or like up in the west. There weren't a lot of southern. I had like 3 or 4 in like probably less than that, 2 or 3 southern, like this southern circles, right? So I don't think their purpose wasn't to gatekeep anything. I mean, they jumped out with them. I think game 1, the very first game, Liquid, they jump out because they've been playing scrims, right? They forced them out in scrims. And honestly, looting these warehouse areas, probably some of the best loot you can get in all of the game. I would say the only place that's better to loot in the game right now than this area right here, where Liquid was looting, is probably up in Mount Nuevo where FaZe was. You get warehouses, concrete buildings, warehouses, concretes. There are concretes inside Mount Nuevo. You can loot 2 warehouses and a concrete building and you're pretty much set. There's so much loot in those buildings. So for a team in Liquid, they can not only loot as fast as they want, but they can also decide when, as long as it's a southern circle, keep that in mind, they can decide when Cloud9 can rotate. Because if they're looting here, they weren't, I think they were like this, then they had EB down in, like he would split these 2 and sometimes go down here. And then sometimes you saw James all the way down here, but sometimes he would loot up in this area as well. No, so if it's a southern circle, Liquid, like Cloud9, they won't be able to rotate out before Liquid does. If they try to go up and above, like if they try to route it differently, the teams from Graveyard and Vitality looted Minas Generales. There were teams in the east side of Los Leones. It would just be too scary of a rotation. So Cloud9 couldn't really rotate out south before Liquid had gone already. So in that sense, I guess you could say that they were gatekeeping them. But I mean, I think they jumped out game 1, Liquid, expecting to get Picado. But then when they saw, because one thing is what you do in scrims. Scrims is, people, they comment that scrims are not being taken seriously when it's at LAN. And of course you don't want to show all your strategies in the warm-up games, because then everybody's just going to know exactly how you're going to play after that, right? So I'm going to read through the other questions in just a sec. And hey, Kobe, and hey, oh, hey, Groovy, sorry, you were just saying hi to each other. No, I mean, even though in scrims, like the warm-up games prior to the live matches that Cloud9 had jumped Picado, it could just be to mess with Liquid's head, right? So Liquid, they'll jump out looking at Picado and they'll say, you know what, okay, Cloud9 is actually coming now as well. Let's just go here. And they get that for free throughout the entire tournament. So why not go back to it? It's one of the most center positions. You have a ton of vehicle spawns on the roads here, and you get looted up insanely fast. So I don't think it had anything to do with them wanting to gatekeep Cloud9. They kind of do, in the sense of where they are and what we just talked about. But I don't think that's the purpose of them jumping there. It's not like, oh, you took our city, so now we will sit here until you guys are uncomfortable leaving or something like that. They do gatekeep them in the sense of their position, but I don't think that was ever the purpose. More questions, let's see. Get the point, but with the plane, the southern circles, they have no safe rotation. Cloud9 could have skipped Picado this time, went for Montenegro. Yeah, but I mean, they don't know that. They don't know that FaZe jumped out early. So that's pretty ballsy for them to just say, let's just not take Picado and go Montenegro. Picado is probably position-wise one of the best places you can go in the game. It's like the Pachinki of Miramar. You can't really get shifted away from to such an extent that you can't get a rotation off of there. And you have the arena, you have casino, you have motel. That's going to get you looted up really quickly too. So I would never give up Picado just because something else was open. That wouldn't make sense. Water tanks above. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the entire area of Montenegro was great to loot up. Didn't gatekeep and went for the center of the circle instead of... It's not gonna grant them anything, Boomer. You saw it over here last game. I don't know if you were here just before. They tried to sit up and make a trap for whatever team came through. Turned out to be Liquid. They got teams down, but because they sat up here for 45 seconds waiting for a team to rotate up behind them, they never got a good centered circle, a good centered position in the circle, and they got 9th place. So is it really worth it to sit around and wait for a team to potentially come your way? Or would you much rather just go up and take a center position in the circle and be like, yep, now we're set for the next 5 circles? I mean, there's the whole gatekeeping and trying to sort of do speed traps for people, like rotation traps, it can pay off, but more often than not, it won't. I mean, even if you get 1 or 2 kills off of it, you're still gonna screw yourself over. Unless if you have a circle, I don't even know what to do for comparison. Okay, so if you have a circle that's somewhat northern like this, right? Let's say this is a circle. And you're looting Picado, and you say, I'll rotate up, and I'll sit here. Like in this compound right here. Then you might see, like, odds are very much in favor of seeing teams come through either one of these 4 ways. You will get to shoot at a team. But and you're also in, and you can scout forward. So from this position, you could probably argue that it would make sense. But anywhere else, no, not really. Yeah, boom, it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. Now, let's go back into this game. I like that you're asking questions, those guys. It's nice. It's nice. I like a lot. Now let's go back into the game. Base there on the edge. They spent a little more time looting, going through Mountain Rainbow and all that. Team Secret, their center. Cloud9, again, they managed to rotate out early. Their center, because now they sort of reversed their thing, right? So Cloud9 is down here. They can now set the pace of the rotation, so they'll be able to get down here early. And Liquid, they went around. How did really Liquid rotate this game? Yeah, exactly. Look at this. So Cloud9, they rotate out early. Circle pops. Cloud9 starts rotating pretty much immediately. You see Moody's already going down there. The other guys are as well. They will probably see the vehicles leave, and then Liquid will start rotating. How does Liquid rotate on this? They go far out west. They want to avoid everything here, right? This is going to be a cluster. You don't want to go through here. So far out west, pretty standard Liquid rotation, honestly. Down in the south, and then up from underneath. Realizing there's not a lot of teams south. FaZe went out early, or a team went out early. Could be FaZe. We'll have the entire south one stripped to ourselves, because the only teams that come this way, potentially, are going to be Divine, and Navi, and Ghost. Like, they're the only teams that come from all the way underneath, right? So if they can get out before Divine, it's a pretty, not early rotation, but somewhat early. And Divine never rotated early Circle 1 anyway. So if they can get out before Divine, they should have this entire western side clear. And they get that for free. I don't know if they dominated the tournament. They had some really high kill games, but I wouldn't say that they dominated the tournament. I mean, there were other teams with more wins than them. They played really well. I mean, when they had the, what do you say? When they had the opportunity to do good, they took it every time. Like, they never stepped away from their game plan. They never tried out new things. When they were able to set themselves in a position from which they could play their game style to the fullest, they 110% did it every single time. They want to get center, they want to spread out, they want to take control of the circle and try and keep other people at bay. You saw them do that all of the 3 games that they won. Or was it 4? And you saw them do that in 2 of the 3 games where they had like crazy kill points. There was one game where they were just sitting on the edge farming people, like the Miramar game up here. But the other 2 games where they had many kills was both games where they played to their advantage. So in that sense, they just, I mean, I don't know if they did anything to, I should say, dominate. They know what their weaknesses and strong sides are, and they played to their strong sides every time they could, and it worked out. I mean, they had games as well where they got like 13th place, 0 kills. They had an 11th place game, I think, with 0 kills. So it wasn't because it worked every time. They knew what works. Go in, spread out, take control, and shoot people. They're really good fraggers. So why not play a style where you're able to shoot people? I mean, if they had played M19 style that's more defensive, then they probably wouldn't have had that success, because their advantage is that when they go into a fight, odds are that they, like, if they go into a straight 4v4, odds are that they will win it because they are more skilled fraggers than some of the other people or teams in this tournament. That's probably the reason why. So, teams rotating in. Atletico coming from the east. Smart rotation from them. Liquid taking the southern position, knowing that if the circle goes away, they probably won't have a spot. But again, boom. Circle, not that much water, fortunately. And majority of teams that were inside the past circle are inside this one too. Now, you have Vici and you have Snake up on the northern side. FaZe, they're trying to run through or drive through Chumacera. Ghost, they're sitting on the edge. Again, they rotated early. They rotated early to get a center position in circle 1, right? If you look at like how this circle looks, it's pretty much as center as they could get from where they were sitting down here. But now they've been not shifted away from, but they're on the edge. And this is where you're in a position where you kind of just have to accept it. Especially in this area of the map. I mean, if you look center, there are small compounds, like small house areas around that are open. But for a team like Ghost, how the hell do you get there? These fields are not easy to drive through. And there's not a whole lot more to it. I mean, you cannot really just hit it bang center. Odds are that you will get screwed over on your rotation. So unfortunately for Ghost, despite the fact that they finally had a game where they say, you know what, we'll rotate early and then we'll get a good position, they didn't get the circle. And those are just situations where you just have to kind of, what do you say? In Denmark, it's bite the sour apple. I don't know if that's a saying in English too. But you just have to deal with it and sit on the edge for the time being. And then whenever you see a gap, you can go in and take the control. Why? Especially because water is in, you should do it. Because you can't play around the water and you know it's going to shift away from it. So if you take a position that's up here in center, I mean, all this is guaranteed to be out at some point. So you're already center in the rest of the map. Then the only thing you have to worry about if it's the circle goes east or west. But either way, you'll still be close no matter what happens. I don't agree with that. Anyway, we'll scroll down a bit. 4 AM, smart safe rotation. FaZe try to push up a bit. They're sitting up on the hilltop, scout forward. It's all about scouting positions. Early circles, scout, 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 scout. Not necessarily the one guy on a bike driving around until he gets shot at, but get your... this is what you can do on Miramar that you can't really do on Wrangle. Get those high ground positions like these guys have, like Secret has, like Liquid has. Get those high ground positions where you can scout forward and see what you can take. See what's available. So now the guys from Liquid will know that no matter where the next circle goes, we have looked at something. If the circle sticks here, we can either stay put or go down here. If the circle goes east, we know now that Navi is here, so we cannot go there. Maybe they've scouted that this building is clear. If the circle goes far north, they might say, this is not going to be easy because we can't really see directly up there, but at least we know that Navi is here, so when they rotate out, we can either go behind them and see what they do, or we can try and get in above them and get a better position. And if the circle goes west, they know that Secret is up here, so they have to worry about the rotation, but they can go down and take something here. All these things are things that you do before the new circle pops. You kind of theorize or theory craft on all possible, not all, I mean, like, not the minimal different types of circles, but like all different circles. Where can they go? And what can we do if it goes to a specific circle? If you have all those things prepared, then you will never be surprised when you see a circle. If you have it prepared saying, oh my god, if the hard shifts, what do we do? We already planned that. We go out in the blue, we drive up, and we go through Las Leones. Not that I think they would do that, but you know what I mean? That's a way to sort of prepare those things, right? Always thinks, it's like chess. Always, instead of thinking one step ahead, it's like think 2 circles ahead. Yeah, exactly, Boomer. And if there's water in, you're even more guaranteed. Because the circle can only contain so much water, right? So Divine sent one guy underneath to try and scout the hilltop. Nikki realizes that Liquid is out there. Ah, go back! Look at how fast he was at getting away from there. He comes up, la-di-di, la-di-da. I'm gonna go up and scout the hilltop, see if we can get the position up here. All of Liquid could turn around and say, no you don't. Okie dokie, boys, I'm headed off. Goodbye. Just sends it down the hill. Oh, that's funny. I know that's not how it happened. Is Nerf by himself a good move? Where's Nerf? 3-1 split. You value it this way. What's the better compound in this situation? It's this one, obviously. They have stables, whatever you call it, like horse stables. They have one of the long buildings. They have a 2-story and they have a 1-story in the middle, garage building, I think. Nerf has a 1-story, a 1-story, and a shack. So, you put it this way. Which area has the biggest chance of getting pushed? That's one thing. Thing 2 is, do you want to frontline all of these teams that potentially have to push down on you? Or, because these guys can all look over to Nerf's compound. So if he gets pushed from anywhere, even before Nerf can hear it, K-Mite, Moody, and Profi will be able to see it. You can see they're split right now. Profi seems to look down south. He will try and, he probably heard that M19 rolled up here. So he'll try and look south. While K-Mite and Moody's job is to look above and over by Nerf. To make sure that if the compound gets pushed, Nerf will not be completely alone when these guys, they decide to roll up. They have a good split right now. Nerf, of course, from his position, can potentially try to cover Cloud9 as well. But I think there's a hill back here, so it's a little hard for him to see over or around. But he can look different. Like, he can try and scout further should the circle go back north again. Because remember, Cloud9, they pushed in early. They came down here early and took center position. So they don't really know anything of what's up here anymore. Because they went down earlier than them, right? NIP, they looted north of Cloud9. Knights looted north of Cloud9. OMG looted north of Cloud9. 4AM looted, well, down here, but they rotated around. So they don't really have any info on the north. So yeah, it's pretty smart split that they have. They know that there is still plenty of room in the circle, and now there's double center positions. So let's watch what happens. New circle pops and pause. Circle, dead center. As fair as can be. I get the point, but 30% water in, not repositioning after you dropped out center. You force yourself to rotate soon. In a crowded area that you're less. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I still think, I mean, area wise, sure, it might get tricky because you're sitting in the center and more people are around you. But if you play on statistics or if you play on chances, odds are still that you will have the better position. If you know what I mean. So as much as I see what you're saying, you'd still, I would rather sit center knowing that there are teams around me than I would sit edge not expecting. I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you're talking about Ghost. I thought you were talking about Cloud9. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Ghost, they were center circle 1, which made sense. I mean, their position made pretty good sense. But then, as the new circle pops, they have to figure, do we want to try and see if we can smash through and go center without any info? Because you cannot really scout centers anymore, because as you say yourself, there's just too many people. You cannot go here, stop, look, go here, stop, look, go here, stop, look. The only time at which you can do that is when new circles pop and you see, like if they sit here, they see, okay, Navi is rotating, good, now we can go to Navi's spot, and then we can try and scout from there. But all they're gonna see is probably where Navi went and some other teams. So they can only really backtrack another team that is already pushed forward. And that's what I was saying before. You just kind of have to deal with it. You cannot really just go blind inside. Some teams try to do that. Sometimes they get lucky and it works. But most of the time it doesn't. So, no, I see what you're saying. You can try and go center, but the reason you go center early is because you have that chance. You have this statistical advantage saying that odds are bigger for me to get the circle when I go center than it is if I'm sitting on the edge. So, I mean, think of it this way. It's like a win-win thing, right? Because if you go center in the early circle and you get the circle, then it's amazing. Like if you let's say we're in this circle, right? If we're sitting center here and the circle goes like this, woohoo! That's amazing in circle 1. If we're sitting on the edge here in circle 1 and the circle goes like this, woohoo! We're in, but we're still on the edge. So what does it matter if we're here in this circle or if we're here? Or like if we're here in circle 1 or if we're here, we would have been here had we gone center in the first one, right? So we will be on the edge no matter what if we don't go center in circle 1. So it's like, do you want to be guaranteed on the edge no matter what? Or do you want to have a chance of being center? And if you don't, then you're probably on the edge anyway. So I mean, if you have the chance to rotate early and get a center position, I would say go for it. Just because, again, it's like either you win or you lose, or you lose or you lose. Because if you go edge here, like let's just play around this circle, right? If I go edge here and the circle goes like this, then I'm fucked, obviously. If I go edge here and the circle goes center, then I can rotate in, but all the teams that were center before me will still have a better position, so I cannot go any further than this anyway, and then I'm forced to play edge again. Now, if I'm sitting here and the circle comes up here, sure, I can go in and take a center position, but all these teams will be doing the exact same thing, and then it's just going to be a cluster chaos. So if you're sitting center, no matter where the circle goes, you will be in, not like that obviously, but you will be in or close. So chances are just better when you're center than they are when you're on the edge. Now, Balog, Ghost, they decide to jump over. Again, they tried to scout forward. They managed to do so. They sent 2 guys over. Frolicker and McCoy decide not to go along. Atletico now rotating underneath. They saw that Ghost moved out, so they'll try and swoop under. Smart. I mean, again, work with the info that you have, right? So they try and rotate underneath. McClutch is up there. Rest of Atletico trying to play around that position as well. 1 guy goes down. Hefa now miles out in the blue. Linksy gets knocked. And unfortunately, that didn't work. New circle pops. Now look at what happens. The new circle pops. You have Knights, you have 4 AM, and you have OMG up here. 4 AM has just been fighting Nip, or NIP, who's in a 2-2 split. Cloud9, they're still keeping their split. And Vitality's up on the edge now, right? So Cloud9, they're in their split. NIP, they're in their split. Ghost, they're in their split. And now look what happens when the new circle pops. Battlein has already started rotating. Before the circle even pops. Because he has a bike, and worst case scenario, he can do this, woo, and go back to his teammates again. So he's already started driving to get the advantage over the other guys rotating. Bam! Now the new circle pops. Shade and Pokemon die, immediately out. There we go. They'll get a position. Because look at this. Look at Battlein. How much faster he's there. He starts driving early. All of these guys start driving early. And NIP and Divine and these guys, they have just now started driving as new circle pops. They're in and out of their vehicles before Liquid even get by them. Battlein can stand here and can take shots at Liquid as they come crossing over. All the 4 guys from Navi can now fight while everyone else are still in their vehicles. So these guys jump out, and this is where I believe that Cloud9 actually did something that was pretty smart. Look at this. New circle pops, and they realize, okay, we have Nerf dead center. He rotates out. They all rotate out, right? As soon as M19 spots Cloud9 drive, they hurry the hell down here because they want to have this position. Vitality, you could see that they wanted to do the same thing, but they back off. Look at this. Shadow on foot on his way down there. Now they all come in at the same time, right? And now they're trying to share this area. M19 spotting that Vitality comes in. They're trying to sit on the southern side. But they have the, I guess you can say, hard cover advantage. Because these guys, they're inside the concrete buildings. And there's no windows on this side. All you really have is like the plateau up here where you can jump up on the roof. But you don't have any windows on this side of the compound. So they're sitting in the compound down here. Ghost, they were sitting so far south, they had to wait for Liquid to move in order to go up here. They had to wait for M19 to move in order to go up here. And now M19 has taken this position alongside Vitality, and Ghost, they now have to figure, what can we do? So now they try to drive forward. Again, they're on the edge. And now you reach the point at which you just hope that the circles favor you, right? Because if the next circle goes down here, Ghost is actually in a pretty good position. So you just have to play with what you got at this point. You can't go center anymore. McCoy outside the circle. Frolly to try to push forward. Now Divine comes into the position that Ghost is in. But McCoy, he got knocked to the circle. And Frolicher, he is out on the edge there as well. Balak and Extreme 2G. I mean, and this is just, in my opinion, too late to be split. At this point, especially when you're 4 guys alive, you need to utilize that. You need to play around the fact that you're still 4 guys up, because there's not that many players. There are many players left, but not that many. And most teams have already lost 1 or 2 guys. So the fact that there's still 4 guys up, I don't know what prevented them from all 4 going down here. But had they done that, there would have been no way in hell Divine would have been able to push down here. They would just have been like completely destroyed them as they tried to push down. You see, there are even 2 guys in the vehicle and they stop here. Had Frolicher and McCoy sat down here as well, they would have been completely stumped. They would never even have gotten out of the vehicle. Because look at how much of a gap they come in with. Had they destroyed this vehicle, they would have been able to reload and start shooting again before these guys even come down here. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Nikki and Jets jump out. They get the finish off onto Balog. Extreme now all by himself. McCoy went down, and now Frolicher and Extreme are all by themselves. Ibiza and James, they've been split. They tried to go for the same area that Cloud9 did, but they got shot at. Mister, I think, and Samty both went down on the vehicles there. OMG now pushing in from the side. Unfortunately, I guess you could say. I mean, think about this. Look at this. Had Ghost been 4 guys down here, they would have been, I mean, Navi ended up, I think, getting 2nd place this game, right? Had Ghost been 4 down here at this point, because they were fortunate, as we said, to get the circle towards them, they could have pushed up. They could have sent 2 guys up to the building, had 2 guys hold the back, but because it's just Extreme now, there's only one thing you can really do from here, and that's stay on his stomach and hope that people don't spot him. You don't want to fight anything when you're a solo player remaining. So now Ibiza goes up to the dip. They have like a bit of a ridge over here on the northeastern side of the road. Of course, he's trying to stay put in dip because they don't want to get shot at from M19, but also he don't want to get shot at from all the guys down here. Secret get themselves a kill. Knights, they try to rotate underneath NIP as they're running. Voxic manages to get out. Kramer is still in his vehicle, forced to jump out here. I believe he goes down in the end. Yep, there you go. Voxic is all by himself, trying to stay put. OMG, again, split up. Cannot really play around the fact that there are 4 guys alive. M19 and Vitality, they're in a good one. And Cloud9 has got to feel, it's got to feel pretty bad, right? Because the circle triple hardship, not hardship, I guess this is as much a hardship as you can get. But it triple shifts south to the compound. Cloud9 were the ones that had this compound, and they have been so fortunate at sitting in compounds early, like throughout the tournament. They've been really fortunate at picking a compound early and staying in it, and then getting the circles. So had they stayed here, there would have been 1 more of those games. But they decided to go up to the compound that was center then, losing the center position. And that's just how it is. Sometimes you get screwed over by the circles. That's just not a whole lot more to it. Voxic goes down. Knights get eliminated. Navi, they will stay up here. They have like trees and rocks and stuff over on this side of the road. Extreme trying to crawl in. Frolic will have to do the same, but there's no way these 2 guys will really ever get back together in that sense. Frolic is trying to hide down by, I think, a fence or a car or something down here. NIP, they try to push in. Navi's main task right now is to keep them at bay. They managed to do so, but they're taking a lot of casualties. And look at this. Navi, despite the fact that they get 3 guys knocked in that fight, Pokemolo actually gets the res up onto all of them. That's pretty damn impressive. So he beats him. He's proning that center. Snake have 2 guys still. That's pretty much his only threat right now. Because there's no reason for him to peek over to the compound knowing there are people there. So he just has to prone and make sure that he's not going to get taken out from the north. Navi, as soon as they hear this fight happen between these teams, they run over. Again, you got to time it right. You time your rotations. Yeah, but that's what I was talking about, right? When they set themselves up in the positions where they can fight, they tend to win. But when they don't have that option, they don't. These teams start shooting at each other, battling across, secure some area. His teammates can get across as well. Now they take vehicles, and boom, there you go. You saw all the people were in the buildings on the northern side trying to fight Vitality. So they're not ready for the push here at all. Battling is going to be the scout. And while he's running across, all these guys are looking up to the compound. Smart. As soon as he gets over, the other guys, they continue up to the compound. And now he becomes the one looking at all the windows. So first he's the scout, and then he's the defender. Whereas to before, these guys are the defenders while he cuts across. But then instead of stopping here and all going forward together, they come over, boom, and they immediately send it in their vehicles up towards the compound. Picture perfect play by Navi. That's exactly how you want to do. Especially late game when you're 4 guys live. Utilize your numbers. You have so many options with having 4 guys alive. Snake, they're out on the edge. They are actually inside the circle. You just can't really see it. Again, it's a little off angled. Yeah, exactly. That type of play could have been great from Cloud9. There were many teams up in this area at the time, so I don't know. They had Liquid underneath them, and they probably could have tried something like that, but then I'm not sure it would have worked because you had all of NIP, all of Navi over here. NIP was up here as well, so it would have been tricky. Knights were up there also, so it would have been clustered. And then, as of course, this end game was just kind of clustered. There's not really a whole lot to say about that. It's kind of hard. You can't really analyze a lot off of that. But NIP winning the game, they played it smart. I mean, they sat up here. They did not push. They did not do anything until they knew for a fact that Cloud9 had left. And by the time that they left, boom, they did not wait 1 second to go down and take the compound. So, in the end, smart play by NIP. They held off the guys in the top. They took out Navi, and they won the game. How many kills did they get that game? I'm not even sure that they got that many. Let's see. 2, 6, 9 kills. Pretty decent. They did not have to revive a single player throughout the entire game. They kept all 4 guys alive for the whole game. I mean, they got knocked in the end there, but they didn't revive a single time. Goes to show, right? The fact that they're able to keep all their players up throughout the whole game. Also Vitality, able to keep all their players up until the very last fight. That's pretty impressive. I mean, had they stayed in the other compound and it had shifted away, because the issue is, and we can talk about this, right? Let me just see if I can find a picture. House. Okay. This is probably the most optimistic thing I've done in a long time. Yeah, that didn't at all. That didn't work. But there are compounds that are... You talk about weak and good compounds, right? The compounds that are the best to hold tend to also be the compounds that are the hardest to leave. In this situation... Let me get the map, please. Map, please. In this situation, this kind of compound, right? You have the stables down here. And then you have the building. No, it's the other way around. These are the stables, and this is the building, right? There's no door on this side of the building at all. You only have windows. And you have a door down here and a door down here. You have no windows on the top floor other than the 2 windows on each end. So if you're going to leave this compound, you have to go out and out. You only have this space to go out in, right? If your team's sitting over here, all these vehicles have to come out through either here, or you cannot, because this is like a steep hill. All the vehicles have to be, first of all, parked in here, and also they all have to come out here. If you have to leave here late game, it's going to be extremely tough for a team to do that, had they been sitting down here. So had the circle gone up here, while Cloud9 were sitting here, 4 man alive, they could never push across on foot, because that's just open and suicidal, because there were people over here. And had they gone with vehicles late game, they would have been screwed over too. So, yeah. I don't know. I think they did what they, like, they played the circle and they tried their best. And unfortunately for them, it didn't work. And also, yeah, it's easy to look in hindsight and say you probably should have done that. But I mean, well, I mean, if you get the circle, they had a high ground position in the compound. They had hardcover walls. They could just lean peek the windows and wait for people to push down, because when they would push down, when you're sitting here, this is a huge open area. This is a downhill that you cannot push. This is completely flat. And this is a road that you cannot really push either. You don't have to do all the work from the compound. If these guys try to run down, believe me, the guys down here will shoot at them. If these guys try to cut across, believe me, the compound will start shooting at them. And the guys sitting here will shoot at them. And the guys sitting here will shoot at them. So you cannot cut across to the compound. At all. You'll get fucked over. You cannot run down here. You'll get fucked over by all the other teams. It's an easy compound to take. And you can hold it 4-4-4-4. And it's extremely hard to push. Not because, I mean, most teams can run up here. But once you're here, it's hard for you, like other teams, to come up and take it in the late game. Had it been early game, you would never want to sit down there. But late game, it's just hard to push for other teams because there's so much open on all the sides of it. You can't really be preached by anyone. Anyway, final game of Miramar. South Plain, Montenegro is where FaZe will go. Divine go down to El Del Mar like we've seen before. Not really any other surprises at all. OMG, looting a good spot up there. Liquid takes this again. Cloud9 are split. Circle goes east. And once again, look at this. Ghost, they go center. This time around, they're extremely close to the circle. So, yeah, they probably would have been top 3. Probably. They could have even won the game too. Everybody wants to sit center, and that's what everybody goes for. There's so many fields here that you cannot really do that to the same extent. Now circle goes south. Let's draw the circle center again here. What do you do if you're a northern team in this situation? Go around and underneath. FaZe can do it too. Only thing being, this city right here, that's a big fat no-no. You don't want to be stuck in there. So the only thing you can do as NIP, for example, is either go all the way underneath and up this way, or you could even go around and try and come in from this way. So let's see what they decide to do. They play it safe, they wait, and then they sit edge. They say, you know what, we don't want to go center, we'll just accept that we're on the edge. That's fine. Liquid do the opposite though. They're actually sitting pretty center. New circle pops. And instead of pushing in from this direction, they say, you know what, we'll go all the way around. and try to come in underneath. Even further, actually, go all the way around and try and come in from under. Smart position, smart rotation from them. Again, nobody wants to sit inside Los Leones. Only 2 ones, I guess. Ghost, they keep their 2-2 split. Now new circle pops. Ghost late to their rotation. The guys from Atletico, they know that there are only 2 guys over here, so they decide to push up on the backside. Fortunately, Extreme and Balak, they managed to get away. Balak is stuck by, I think it's like the hay bale things. NIP, Vitality, and Cloud9 try to fight their way out from La Bandita. That gets a little chaotic. Now Circle hard shifts north. And what do? You're a southern team. You can't do a whole lot for your position because you're stuck inside the city where you couldn't really scout forward. Either you try to go out on the edge and get around. Same thing on the other side. This right here, it's a huge open field that you cannot really play around. So this is not somewhere you want to be in. This down here is unplayable, literally. So here it cannot be. What do? You don't, like, if you're sitting anywhere south down here, you can only scout. These buildings are going to block your vision, right? You can only look this far. You have no idea what's going on down here. You have no idea what's going on up here. Because these mountain ridges, they're blocking your view. And this compound as well, I guess, is blocking your view. So what do you do if you're divine in this situation? This is what I was talking about before, where if you are in a position where you're allowed to play to your strength, then that tends to work out. Like, you tend to get a replacement off of it. Divine, they're not at all in a position that they want to play from right now. But this is where they actually tend to surprise people positively. They will then go and take a seemingly useless position, but they will say, you know what, we'll be on the edge. We don't mind being on the edge here. The map is only so small now anyway. We'll take the edge, and then we'll sit and play it safe until the cluster fight is over. If we can keep 4 guys alive for that long, we'll play around that. But unfortunately, as you see, Niggy, he went out early. They lose 1 player, then Niggy goes down, and they're forced to go away from the playstyle that they like to play. And I believe they both get eliminated here, actually. Davies goes down, right? No, he gets a finish onto 1, goes down in the end. Now Jet is a solo player. Their strong side is having 4 guys alive and pushing together. That's not possible anymore, obviously. Knights, they're on the edge now. Ghost finally getting a little bit of circle lock, but they're in a fight with both NIP, Cloud9, and Liquid, so they're in a somewhat rough position. They're trying to hold off all these teams, and this is where Ghost play well. I mean, this is you can't really play around wanting to play in clustered situations, but this is where they really do well when they're able to keep all 4 guys together and fight off enemies. And that's why I don't get why they were caught off split so many times throughout the tournament. It was just surprising to me that they never emphasized sticking 4 together more than what they did. Cloud9 far out on the edge. Ghost once again getting kills. They're pushing in together, playing as a 3-man team, no splitting, just take control and move as a unit. Snake, all the guys on the north side of the road, they're forced into fights. FaZe try to come down, they get wiped by Cloud9. And again, playing together. McCoy, boom, hurry, over, get the rest. Now 4 guys up with him, unfortunately. Ballard goes down. Frolicker and McCoy tries to stay alive. They get eliminated. There's only so many things you can do there. They got knocked multiple times, and there were just too many teams fighting them. Yeah, Cloud9, they did really well late game. Look at how they split out as well. Like, look at how they spread out as well to take control, right? They played really smart. K-Man comes down, try to get the rest. Once it doesn't work, Profi comes over to help. Now they know they're in a 2v1. Boom, gets the victory. It's just, this is how Cloud9 excels. This is what works for them. And they played really well. And that's why they won the tournament. They played to their strengths and it worked. How many kills did they get that game? 8, 13, 16 kills. Almost 1,000 damage. Sorry, almost 1,000 damage from Moody. Pretty well done. Now, if I could change this? No? Bless me, thank you. I think the filter thing, this thing, is, what do you say? I don't know if I can wash it, but I think think it's collecting dust. So every time I sit with my mouth really close and I like breathe in, then like there's too much dust. But that was game number 2. Wait, that was actually game number 3. We forgot to, guys, why don't you correct me, man? It was game number 3. We're going over to Rankle now. Have to help me out here. No worries, Boomer. Have a good one, man. It's nice of you to stop by. I like it when you're here. Take care, man. There you go. Hey, Molman. So. Alright! What site am I using? It is a... I should make a command explaining this, because I explain it all the time. But that's fine by me. It's Other Production. These guys, they have come up with this software that allows you to... I can try and explain... Like, we can go in here. Name a tournament. Name a tournament that has been played on event server this year. Any tournament. Any tournament where there was a game that you thought was awesome. Yeah, it's only for me right now. I'm testing it, and I think GLL will be using it as well for their weatherman stuff. But no, look, we can go into this. Then we can say, let's see, GLL Season 2 Finals, German. I think that's the ESL thingy. Starladder qualifier played 11th of. No, we can only do event server. Wait, was Starladder on event server as well? PGI 2018, Korea Pro League, Starladder Season 2. I think it's only the actual games from Starladder. I don't know what this game is. Knights get a win, and Voxic gets second place. So here you can see the plane, la-di-di-la-di-da, and there's gonna have it's still in testing. I know on Wednesday they'll add kill feed and like add team trackers over here on the side, and then it's something I've requested that they haven't been added yet. But live API from this. So if I, for example, press like click on Voxic, then it will come up with his damage for the game so far. And so if he takes a shot at anyone, it'll add more damage. And like you can see, it's constantly adding up his travel distance, constantly being updated. And Mets, every time he uses a band-aid, it will say, and then when I click him, it'll put the player info up here. and it'll put the team info down underneath, and also the team trackers on the other side. It's gonna be fucking awesome once it's done. But it's still being worked on. But this is a game where stuff happened. I don't know. And then you can. The thing I like about it the most is that it's so smooth. It's super crisp. I really like that a lot. This is a style ladder game where, I guess, knights won. It's just an example. Yeah, so that's pretty much how the program works. We can go to players. We can just write the name, the season. Then we can find all the games that that player has been playing in. I mean, if I was the one in charge of this, I would just sell it to teams. In all fairness, Molman, you can just make it yourself. Don't you know how to code API stuff? Don't everyone? All. I forgot what game we reached now. It's top coder. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You just gotta do what you gotta do, right? And the good thing is that it's live API, right? So any tournament being played, and it doesn't matter if it's on event server or not, I can just go in here and I can find whatever games I want. It just has to be like, I think the what do you say? I think the people in charge have to put it up here. So anyway, I can, like, as soon as the game is done, just like whenever they, like for example here for PGL, whenever they have the scores from the last game updated, you know how they always sit and talk for a few minutes because they're waiting for the API to be updated? Whenever they have the scores updated, I have the game as well. So while the new game is playing, or like while we're waiting for the new game to start, I can sit and I can go through all of this stuff. So imagine how nice this would be for, like, because for example on an analyst desk, the game ends, you be a team 1, Ghost won the game, and then boom, you go out. You go back out from the game, you sit and talk, that was an interesting game. These guys got so many kills, these guys got so many kills. And then, like, you just stalled it for like a minute, right? Probably where you watch the replays of the game. Oh, I like this kill right here where this guy did this and this guy did that. And then as soon as that has happened, because that you can talk and do that in like 2 minutes. Then as soon as that's done, then you send it over to this screen. Boom. Where one guy will be in charge, like one guy will be the main guy. He can be the one doing everything, but everyone else, for example, and let's say it's Toffees who's the analyst, right? So there's like a picture of Toffees up here, and then there is a color. Let's say Toffees is green. So if Toffees wants to emphasize something, he'll say, oh, Toby, whoever, could you please go over to that period where Ghost, they killed, I didn't watch this game, so I don't know, where Ghost killed knights. Like, sure, I can do that. And then he'll come in with his pen, Toffees is green. Oh, I like how they did this, how they did that, how they did that. That could be pretty awesome to have as a feature for tournaments. I think so. So hopefully we'll see more of it happening. But there's still a lot of things that needs to be done. It's still on the old map. You can see we don't really have the compound down here yet. We don't have the compound up here isn't there yet either. So that's something that needs to be updated. And also when you can see right now, I think can't really explain it here, but the map is a little offset. So for example, I think this guy is actually in here, and this guy, it seems like he's outside the building. He's actually sitting inside. So there are some minor adjustments like this that that still needs to be fixed before I think they want to like let everyone have access to it. But with that, guys, let's get into game number 4. I hope that answered some of your questions, Mr. Mollenmann. You're welcome to join in someday. I mean, I cast GLL on Wednesdays, and then on Thursdays I normally go over all the games. So if you want to sit and watch some of them with me and be like, oh, so look at this. This is where FaZe, they did this, and they did that, and they did that. How do you think that worked for them, Mr. Mollenmann? Then we'll talk about that. By the way, look at what happened here. So, very first Miramar game. What happens? FaZe saying, well, hello there, Cloud9. How are you doing in Pochinki? And now they're forcing Cloud9 into a rough position, right? Because look at this. All of a sudden, K-Mind lands down with an opponent. Unfortunately, I guess you can say, for Cloud9, they didn't get killed because of it. But FaZe, they pretty much only had one thing to do here. It doesn't matter if they try to get good placements on their own. If they get a first place and win, and Cloud9 still gets a second or third with X amount of kills, they will still maintain that lead. It'll continuously get smaller, but they'll still be in the lead, right? So FaZe, they said, you know what, desperate times calls for desperate measures. We need to screw over Cloud9 in order to win. It might set us back, but we need to do everything we can to make sure that Cloud9 does not get a top placement. And of course, try to get a top placement themselves too. So by doing so, they take out... K-Mind is alive, Moody. Profi gets taken out early. There's still 4 guys alive. You see them chasing, completely hunting down Nerve. I didn't watch this. There you go. Getting themselves 1 more kill. So now Cloud9 is down to 2 players, and they go completely aggro. Now they see them up there, and they realize, you know what? We've set them down. We've set them down a little. No, this is not the last game. This is the... Is it the last game, this one? Like the very last game? Oh, okay. Then it's probably just been... It's probably a little messed up then. Oh, there you go. I clicked the one. Okay. So, I was gonna say, did FaZe hot drop them 3 games in a row? Because I heard about the hot dropping, I just didn't think there was all of the games they did that. Anyway. This looks more real. North Circle. Boom. There you go. You're welcome to join in now, Mallman, if you don't have anything better to do. I can just screen share it with you, and then we can work with that. If you want to. If you're still here. You can probably explain some things that I can't. Okay, no worries. You're always welcome to join in anytime. So, Snake go Novo. They've realized there's no reason to do anything else. And with a plane like this, people talk about Navi doing reaction drops, but they pretty much only go Prim and North George, because they know both of them are free, so no reason not to. Snake, if they don't get a plane for South, they will go Novo, and they get a plane for Novo, so they go there. Makes perfect sense. Again, Navi goes out early, gets a position. This is kind of the same thing that we talked about with FaZe, right? They went out early in La Coperia, took that position, and played with that. So they go out, we'll just speed it down a little. One thing that's been surprising me on Erangel is how insanely early OMG like to rotate. I mean, we're talking crazy early. Now let's see how early they rotate this time around. Circle is popped. These 2 guys, they haven't even started looting yet. Now they split up and they start looting. Now these guys have just started looting. Let's see if they actually go early. Secret tries to go in. Noah goes in. They're still doing their interesting spread loot. Constantine will go up, try to get a better position. They want to leave the city. Okay, OMG is actually rotating a lot later than I thought that they would. So, knowing that the circle most likely will go up to the northern side, M19 goes far north. Knights, they say we don't want to get caught off in our splits down here by teams rotating early, so we might as well just try and go up and get a northern position, check some compounds, take some control up here. They'll play around that. Makes perfect sense. Surprised that no more teams are splitting here, actually. We've seen Liquid. They're splitting 2-2. It's a pretty standard split. They like to do it. You have plenty of control out over the field, so you can kind of keep a track of how many teams are coming up on all the sites. It's a pretty good way for them to figure, okay, so how many teams would we assume to have underneath, and how many teams can we assume to have above us? Because if we can keep track of that, then if the next circle goes south, we'll know what we're up against if we want to take a southern position. Same thing going with the north side. So this is something that Liquid is really good at, trying to spread out early, get as much information. It's not like they don't sit themselves up in positions where they can sit and gatekeep and try and get rotation kills. They'll just sit themselves up in positions where they can see as much as possible, trying to get as much info as possible for the circle to come. And that's why you often see Liquid doing some smart rotations in the early stages of the game, because they get so much information off of the very, very start of the game. But now we get all of them rotating up to the warehouse area. The remaining teams all coming up. Vitality is going to be the last movers. OMG, very late rotation for them. Surprising to me that they go so late, but I guess they needed a little more time to get looted up. That's the issue with these compounds down here. I mean, sometimes sometimes you take one building, you find 3 ARs, and you're good to go. Sometimes you just get screwed over, and you only get a quick draw for a pistol and a backstock. I don't know. It looks like they're on the run now. They get a up forward again. Smart. Scout, go forward. Scout, go forward. Scout, go forward. Get as center as you can before the new circle pops. They've seen Snake on the side now. Boom. New circle pops. Fortunately, as you can see, majority of teams on the northern side, they're in. But do you really want to sit this far north? Up in Stalper? Because one thing that's worse than trying to push center is trying to push center downhill. I mean, pushing downhill already is shit. We've drawn it up before. Let me draw it for you guys again. So, look at this. We'll just draw it down here. This is a guy. He has a weapon, and he's really scary. He has a gun. I should probably maybe do this instead. So here's a guy. He has a gun, right? He's very scary. And he's trying to push downhill. This is a very, very steep hill, but you get what I'm saying. Now look at this. Here's a tree. Because there are trees on Stalper. And down here is another guy. Trying to hold off anyone trying to push down the hill. He has a bigger gun because he's more badass. Now, who will spot who first? In this situation, this guy, he will see the tree. And this guy, he will see the guy. So who has the advantage? The downhill guy. I know people always say that high ground is the best and Star Wars is amazing and all that stuff. But in this situation, first of all, he's trying to run down the hill. He's gonna get spotted before he sees his opponent. That's one thing. Second of all, he probably has the blue on his back, so he's running like he cannot just stop and take time to look around. The blue is coming, and that even though the blue is going slower and all that, it adds a little bit of pressure to you. That's just how it is. So, no matter what, the downhill guy down here is gonna have the upper hand. 10 out of 10 paint drawing skills, by the way. Just to kind of showcase you. The worst thing you can do, I mean, and you have to do it sometimes, obviously. But that's why you see, like, if you see a team in, this is not gonna happen. But if you see VG, for example, trying to push down, they see Liquid. Instead of fighting them this way, they'll probably try and do this and fight them from the side so they're even. Go to the other side, or even try to go all the way underneath and then fight them from underneath so they have the upper hand in those situations. You never want to be the uphill team trying to fight your way downhill. That's just, you just automatically put yourself in a bad position. Send guys out on each side to try and flank to sort of limit that advantage or just make it better for you. When you're high ground and maybe around 100 meters well outscoped. Yeah, true. You get that advantage, I guess you can say. So for the guy that is downhill, he will see, like for the guy who's... Let me just go back to my insane drawing skills. We'll make it a little flatter. So for the guy that's proning down here... he has his gun here, right? This grass will prevent him, or even crouching, will prevent him from looking up the hill. Whereas this guy that's standing up here, this grass won't be there. Like, it won't be there. So he'll just see straight down to the guy. In that sense, I guess you have the advantage when you're uphill. But again, if you're in a pushing situation downhill, yeah, it's true. But then when you, and this is what I always hate, right? Because then you have a tree. You have a tree that looks like one thing. Like you'll see down the hill, and you're like, oh, look at this. I can see him down here. Like I can see him with my gun, and of course my gun shoots out from here because that's just how guns work. I can see him down here, but then as soon as you scope in, the trees, they... Oh my god, now it's a new tree. And now I cannot see him. It's like, ah! Of course, you can just start tapping through the tree, but yeah, I see what you're saying. That could be an advantage, but when it comes down to the actual fight, then it could become like more often than not, the guy that's down the hill will still be able to see some of you uphill. So even though I know what you're saying, I would still. It's kind of an RNG advantage. You can't really call it an advantage if it only works. First of all, it only works half the way because you might be able to see him, but if you can't shoot at him, then it's gonna be tricky. Second of all, you never know if it's. I've had it happen opposite before, where I would be far away from a guy, and when I wasn't zoomed, I couldn't see him. Like if I was just running around, I could not see a guy. But as soon as I zoom in, like the branch just goes, oh, there he is, and then I could see him. So you never really know if it's gonna benefit you or if it's technically benefiting the opponent. Which is why we don't like the way things render in PUBG. The worst thing is when you're driving a bike and you're kind of trying to swerve through trees. And all of a sudden you think like, oh, I'm on the left of this tree, and all of a sudden it just renders poof, right in front of you. And it drives straight into it because like 10 meters before you're there, all of a sudden that tree just like scoots a meter to the left, and you're like, shit, I didn't see that tree. And then you get fucked over by it. Yeah, that's annoying. And that happens to me sometimes. I like to do those super smooth rotations by all the trees, and then all of a sudden a tree will just like move 1 meter to the left right before you, and it's like, I wasn't prepared for that at all. So no, I get what you're saying. It can be an advantage, but I would still argue that in most situations, if you're fighting like this, you want to be the guy that's up like downhill. Oh, so that's why I run into trees. Yeah, that's the only reason, I'm sure. Yeah, you can argue that. One of the reasons being that when you're sitting, like, if you're the one trying to gatekeep, right? We have all the colors for a tree. Why didn't I do this right the first time? So if you're the one gatekeeping, you would never be in a situation where you would stand up here and the tree would be in your way, because when you're sitting on the top trying to gatekeep, you would always be by the tree looking down. Then there might be one more tree that's gonna block your vision, but the guy down here would never start shooting at you before he's behind cover too. What am I drawing right now? He has a tank now. I do not know what I'm drawing anymore. This guy has a tank. So he would never start shooting at you before he gets up to the next tree. So that way, that advantage would be cancelled. No, sorry. I was thinking Battlefield Royale. I was thinking Battlefield Royale, where you have tanks. Fuck, wrong game. Sorry. That was me. I've been thinking too much about Battlefield the last couple of years, you know. So, I don't know what happened there. Nobody know what I mean. So you would never really experience the same disadvantage that you have when you push downhill, because the guy that's pushing up would only, like, you would only see him when you didn't have that disadvantage. Like, he might be able to see you while he's running up the hill, but he won't stop to take shots if he's out in the open. So he will get all the way up to the tree before he starts shooting at you. Only thing I would argue is an advantage. Do you think it's an advantage that your nades, when you throw them, they don't go further? Like, if you throw a nade on a tree uphill, it'll say drink, and then it'll stay there. Whereas when you try to nade a guy that's behind a tree that's downhill, it's gonna like, whee, continue all the way down here before it explodes. If you have a guy that's uphill behind a tree, and you throw a nade from down here, it goes like doink, and then it bounces down behind the tree. I'd say that's an advantage for the downhill guy. Even though I know that you can't really base anything off of that, but it's much easier to nade uphill than it is to nade downhill, I would argue. It's like a handicap thing in your favor. Shankan, thank you so much for the follow. Should we get back to the game now? Or should we keep discussing tanks in PUBG? That was a good one. It's always good with some laughs. So, Yasnaya has been left. M19, they like to sit on the edge down here, and I actually kind of respect that. It's a pretty decent spot. They sit police station, and they sit out by the garages. They know that this is like a highway for rotations up, because you don't want to go by Alamo, and you don't want to go right by this. So you have like this path right here where you want to go through. Because once you get up by yellows, like the yellow house up here, you can spread in so many different directions, right? So this is like a sort of a highway on the map. And then, of course, you have the rotations underneath over here where you already have Cloud9 sitting. So smart position from M19. They can shoot at people rotating through. That makes sense. But also, like we talked about Liquid before, they have a position where they can figure out, okay, how many teams are rotating north of us. Because the teams that are currently rotating north that aren't up there already, of course, you cannot keep a track of a team that rotated up like this. But the teams that are coming from south and surpassing you, odds are that they will not be able to go far up north. So you'll know, okay, we probably have 1 or 2 teams that's sitting up here because they'll be coming in blind as well. And then they will need to scout forward, right? So if you have to rotate after them, you'll know, okay, they stopped up here. Great, let's just go around then. So smart position from M19, granted that they didn't want to go up the hill because they, of course, knew that Liquid was already up there. OMG, they go for the southern apps. Chan going over to the compound over here. Teammates going with him. Again, scout, forward, go. Scout, forward, go. Vitality, stop, scout, stop, scout. I don't know where they're going, but they have a 2-2 split in the fields. Should the circle go south, they're in a good position. Should it go north, they would have been in the same position either way. Face, I have not seen this split before, but interesting. Scary, but interesting. We have 2 full teams inside of Stalber. Now 8C comes over. Smart doesn't want to sit on the edge. Comes over. And they can always... The thing is, when he goes over like this, they can always go back. Should the circle go down here, Mexi can see up to the compound from here. And he literally just left it, right? So Mexi will be able to see if these guys rotate up. And then he can give the call that it's taken. New circle pops. Boom. Immediately. Base take northern apps. Smart position from them. Empty out in the shacks out there. Everyone else, they need to figure out what they want to do. Because look at this. This is the last circle. You want to draw a center around where people are. Now they're a little further north. Because this area, of course, is not really a place that you can sit. As the new circle pops, what do you do if you're Divine? You're sitting in a compound. People would most likely either rotate around you or like inside of your position. So what do you do from here? Do you just go in and take a position? Or do you go underneath? What would you guys do? Let me know. If you're sitting where Divine is, would you just take the vehicles and go in and play the hills? Would you go down and play the cliffs? Would you smash it inside, maybe go for the Prio buildings in Yasnaya? Would you, I don't know, go underneath? Would you go all the way underneath and then up from here? How would you play it if you're Divine? Let me know, guys. And there's no right and wrong answer. Only wrong answer would be to rotate through Pochinki, which I don't think any one of you would do. You'd go cliffs. You would go under, okay? So you'd go all the way underneath. Hadouken! Is that how you're supposed to say it? Hadouken! I don't know. Behind secret. Where's secret? Oh, because you would go up the hill here, okay? And you would go, I assume that you would go, Moln, you would go like cliffs down here somewhere. I would argue that if you... Yeah. If you go underneath here, first of all, you have a dip. So that means nobody from the city can really shoot up at you. That's one thing. Second of all, if you're sitting down here, you might be spread in a kind of screwed position, but odds are that nobody would be pushing from down up towards you, so you don't really have to worry about that because they'll be pushing in blind. They couldn't see you. And if you're sitting down here, we talked about that downhill, uphill advantage. If people come down towards you, odds are, again, as long as you're not too clustered, that you would have the upper hand in the fight because they'll be pushing in. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8, even 9 teams that could be making their way down in this area of the map. Probably these teams will go over here, but then at least 6 teams that will be forced to go down here. You can sit here, you can scout further. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, all the calls make sense. But if we're talking about the city center, of course, the circle center. You don't want to be anywhere here because that's just a huge field, unless if you're sitting in yellows. So if you go underneath, like some of you said, you could go over here. You could even go all the way out and come in again. First of all, you're coming in blind, which not necessarily the worst thing, but when you're sitting in this is circle 3 to circle 4. Like it's going to close down to circle 4. First of all, you know that it's going to go away from water. So it cannot go anywhere. It can go like this. But there's no way you'll get the entirety of Yasnaya inside the circle. Unless if it goes like right on the edge down here. So you can come in from the south, you won't have any info, and odds are that there are teams sitting in Yasnaya that have a hard time pushing further north. Like the teams that committed south of Yasnaya, like south side of Yasnaya, like OMG, they'll only have made it this far. And if they have vehicles, believe me, they'll go down and see if they can take you out. So while a southern rotation makes sense, you also have to think, yeah, exactly. Trying to leave Yasnaya late, that's gonna be rough. That's one thing. Also, you gotta figure, if we don't want to go Yasnaya, which would make sense, what can you take from here? Look at this circle. New circle pops. You see that there are, I would guess, probably 50 people alive still in the game. Would you honestly think that Alamo and this position, if we just scroll back a little, let's go scroll back a little. There we go. With this circle, you're divine. Would you honestly think that these 2 positions, or even 3, weren't taken already? Look at the circle how it is, right? You know that there's 50 some people alive. Odds are that this area is not going to be available. So if you try to go underneath, which again would make sense, where do you go from here? Like where do you go? Your only real thing, especially once you see the circle, is to go inside Yasnaya. You could probably argue that you could take this. You wouldn't know for a fact that it was going to be taken already. But if you want to go underneath, where, like, you always got to think that one step ahead. Where could you go from here? You could probably go underneath and try to go up to the yellows, but again, that's taken by Cloud9. So if you know, or like try and guess that this is already taken, and if you really want to go yellows, you might as well just go this way. So I hope that makes sense. So I would agree that the smarter play would be to go underneath, because you can sit up here without taking fire, and then you can try and scout in like multiple directions. They can't see anything, but we'll go back and look at all this again in a second. Let's just look at what Divine does, and like, let's see what they do end up doing, because I don't actually know. They go down to the cliffs again, smart play. Instead of sitting up here, they take it down to the riverbank. Again, next circle has to shift away from water. 4 AM, they decide to go south. They have no info, so we actually get both examples here. We get both examples of the things that you guys were thinking of doing. Push a bit further forward on foot. 4 AM, they now have a position inside the circle. They have the dips down here. So we see both of these 2 things happening. Navi, they kind of push down on the cliffs, like we talked about, the team could do as well. But now we know the next circle has to go away from water. That's one thing. Or does it? I think it does, right? Yeah, it does. And who is in the better position now? With this, sitting where they are right now, we'll just go to right for the circle pops. There you go. Who's in the better position now? If we go back to talking about what we did before with like what your opportunities were, 4 AM, they pretty much did the only thing they could with going south. They stayed alive, they kept all the 4 guys alive to 1 circle later. But them and Divine, who's in the better spot right now, would you think? Like, who would you say is in the better position right now? Divine or 4 AM? Or Navi, for that sake. Navi, they went underneath and went cliffs. So Navi, Divine, and 4 AM. Who's in the better position? You say 4 AM? Navi? Yeah, probably argue Navi. He's a solo player, so let's count him out. 4 AM or Divine? Who has the better spot here? Divine, they're in a dip. Meaning, they cannot look anywhere. They're sitting down here without any info. They're both screwed. I mean, Divine, they know that they sat in this position, right? They were sitting in the compound. They haven't heard any vehicles come underneath. So technically, they could try and push back up over the top. And then push down. The only issue being that circle 45 is the timer, what is it, 90 seconds total? 70 seconds before it starts closing in. This is like the fast circle, right? So you don't really have that much time to think. This compound is out. Divine was sitting here. They know that, and they haven't heard any vehicles come underneath them. They could potentially try and run up north and go down, but they will need to W with shift and weapons on their back pretty much their entire way there. Go on up, like, don't go all the way up to the top, but go 1 step up and then run underneath and try and get inside the circle. That would probably be the play for them to make. Or, if they're desperate, I mean, you know by this time that odds are that there's no one inside Yasnaya, so you could just Hail Mary it and hope for the best to go inside. It would be a risky and scary and last resort play to make. But if everything else goes sideways, just go for this, go for the insides down here. For 4 AM, what can they do? They're sitting down here. They don't have any info because they're in a dip. I think Snake shot at them earlier, so they will know that this is taken. I don't think Vitality was shooting at them. That's also a thing that will be added, like the whole shooting. Pew, 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 pew. You can see all the shots and stuff. So let's say that they know that these two are taken. Where can they go? What does 4 AM do from here, knowing that these two are taken? You can crash Grandma or Alamo. Welcome back, Samiak. Yeah, I'll make sure to install them pants. All the weapons sound like that, by the way. It's my game. Player Toby's Battlegrounds. They could push this. Maybe win, maybe lose, take some sacrifices. But then they still have to continue going into an open field. Not exactly the smartest position to try and push out from. They can go northeast through blue if they have heals. But where would they go? I guess they could drive out and then try and sit up here. That would actually be their best play. Honestly, that would probably be their best play. Drive all the way around, probably get shot at from a clutch, and then go down here. Only issue being, if they do that and McClutch shoots at them here, these guys, they will know about that and they will push down to shoot at them as well. And then all you can do is hope that Texas and Knights, they start shooting over at Atletico while you do that. I think you agreed with him or something. I don't know. Oh, okay. I got confused there for a second as well. You cannot talk to two people in one sentence, Samiak. That's not how Twitch works. Anyway, let's see what ends up happening. 4 AM down here, Divine over here. How do they play this? Divine, boom. Okay, so Divine, they put on the YOLO glasses, it looks like. Snake, this is smart. Okay, so Snake, they have one guy sitting. I actually didn't notice that before. Snake, they have one guy in blue. Or in yellows, right? New circle pops. Pew. So they immediately push out. 4 AM, they have to notice this. For now, we'll keep a look at 4 AM. Then we'll take a look at Divine afterwards. They have to see this. Now they go underneath. He's going by himself this way. These guys, they haven't even started rotating yet. That's a mistake. He goes by himself. Now his teammates come. He doesn't commit to the push. And now they kind of push up, kind of don't. These two guys, they're caught in the middle of the open. West comes up. I mean, if they have kept any sort of track of the kill feed, they would know that there's only one guy in here. Send it, please. Crash that. Anyway, that's what they ended up doing. Let's see what happened to Divine. New circle comes. Divine, full on YOLO. The entirety of Snake pushed into yellows. Eliminated, 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 eliminated. And look at this. They know that these guys have just fought like crazy people. Yeah, I know there's a dip, but they know, like they know for a fact that a full team got wiped because they obviously, I hope so, look at the kill feed. And they should know as well that Snake just lost 3 players because it's not that 2 of the players died early game, so you don't know how many is left. Your kill feed has just gone crazy with Divine and Snake TC. They should know for a fact that there's only one guy left in that building. As soon as West comes up, they still all have vehicles. Looks like they kind of wanted to push up too, but they decided not to. Maybe Vitality was shooting at them. Could be. Looks like the way, like they're in the corner of the building. Could be shooting up there. Anyway, they're sitting down there. So Divine get eliminated. They again, they were sitting themselves in a position over here where they weren't able to scout. Had they been up here where Shade was, they would have seen, like before they started driving down, they would have seen Snake pull up, and then they would know, shit, 4v4, okay, what do we do? And they would here been able to turn around or something else. Whereas to, because they came full speed and didn't notice it before here, you couldn't really turn, you can't really go anywhere else. You're just forced to go with it and see what happens. Panic call. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Essentially a panic call. Couldn't really do a whole lot more. Atletico, they try to push out. Fighting off Knights. Ghost, they want a third party. Field ending. Big fat yikes. 4 AM, take this position! Now Vitality push into the open. 4 AM, thank you. Come on, push it. Push it real good. There you go. Finally they get themselves. I'm not sure why. And then again, actually, I kind of am. Smart play, I would say, from Bugunao to push out. He knew it was just going to be a matter of time before somebody would push in and contest it. And he's a solo player. So give them the good spot. He can prone in the bad one. Liquid, they've been sitting up here all game. They're now forced to make their walk down the hill. Ghost, they third party. Knights get eliminated and they eliminate Atletico. Smart play from them. Now, this sort of circle, everything is kind of downhill towards Jasnaya. You have these antenna thingies to hide behind. There are 3 of them. Other than that, you have 0 cover in this circle. There are some rocks. There's like a rock, I think, over where Long is sitting right now. That's about it. Did James try to run Gemty over? It looked like it. Or did he just get eliminated? Ghost, they all go down behind the thingy right here. Try and see if they can scout themselves forward. Vitality is taking the rock. Down here they're taking fire. Example, he's just gonna snake. Base, they are kind of doing the same thing as Ghost, except they're not in a circle. So that's a bit of a tricky play for them. Now circle comes in. They have to push forward. Vitality is just waiting for them. They take them out. Example gets eliminated. Ghost, they don't see foliage down there. So Monkey is hiding in the blue. Not sure why. Did he go down to blue because of it? Because he doesn't want to run? You could have pushed up here, technically. Now he starts running as the circle starts closing. Nikoi. I mean, again, there's a bit of a offset on all the angles here. 2v4? No, 2v3. But 4M end up, I mean, you might say that this play was a smarter one, but 4M end up getting a second place because of the way they play. Yeah, I know. It's not desync. It's just it's a little offset. As I said before, it's the old map. Like you can see, there's this compound isn't here, and the compound isn't here either. So it's the old map. I think it's just a bit offset. Thank you. They get second. I mean, in all honesty, if we go back, right? So 4M, they're sitting far up here. Even if they go down this way, they won't be able to get any info. If they backtrack all these guys, it's just going to be a matter of time before somebody will gatekeep them. So I think they make the wise choice in making a long rotation underneath. They come down here. Fortunately for them, Vitality had already pushed in. Vitality, they were sitting here. They saw that M19 pushed up here. So they go in and they take that position. 4AM sitting down here. They probably scouted. They were taking fire, I think, from Snake. So as soon as they see Snake move out from Alamo, they go in. I'm not sure at all what Aluka is doing. That's very confusing to me, that he would go up here. I mean, I understand that you want to send a scout, but going up alone like this to a compound when it's only one guy, might as well just send your full team there. He goes up, and then, I don't know, the fact that they're able to stay down here without taking any fire. I think Vitality, they were forced to focus on M19 and Face for that sake. So they couldn't keep all their focus up here. Also, they can only look out from here so often, right? Because like there are windows on this side of the building. So M19 will be able to look over. Snake will be able to look down. Face will potentially be able to look over, and 4M can shoot down towards them as well. So there's like 4 guys. Every time you peek, you have 4 guys shooting at you. Who could shoot at 4 AM? Atletico, they couldn't peek up to the road because Knights, they would shoot at them. Snake, they couldn't look at 4 AM because Vitality would shoot at them. Vitality couldn't look at 4 AM because M19 would shoot at them. And then I guess everyone else was on the north side. So it kind of makes sense, actually. Like, nobody was in a position where they could get a free angle on towards them, because on this side of the building, whoops, there's no... Is there? There's only one small window on this side of the building. And if they just hard peek that, like if Long hard peeks that angle, because he knows that these guys up here, they cannot shoot down at him. So the only guy that could, like, if he leans on the right side of the rock to shoot up there, the only... No, Texas can't even do that. Texas can't see him from this building, because the ridge, like the downhill, doesn't start before there. They might be able to see them, but if 8C starts shooting, look at where Vitality is in this building. I mean, you have two M19 players right outside the buildings as well. If these guys start shooting that direction, they will get plowed by Constantine, an elite player. The only guy I think that could do something would be Yemti, but I mean, what do you want to focus on, right? This is probably like a 600-meter shot. Do you want to focus on that, or do you want to pay attention to all these 2 billion teams that's going to come down from the top? Yeah, also you have the ridge out here. Exactly. You have, oops. You have the ridge here, like the long ridge here, where there are like bushes and the small thin trees and shit. So that could block the vision. Because it's like flat out here, then it goes down, and then it goes flat again. So this, like these things here, might eliminate the vision. You can see Mexi, he's only focusing this way. Same thing for MT. Both digging up here. Phosphase can't really scout anything from there. I would think that he looks down this way. HC is the only one who is on this side of the building. So, do you want to focus over here when you're face, knowing that you have players close? Or no? I mean, even if you get a knock over here, if you have to stand out there to get the finish off as well, there's gonna be so many other people shooting at you that you won't be allowed to get that finish off. So it won't really grant you anything to get that knock to begin with. I just want them to die. Well, they do die. They do die. It just doesn't happen before they get second place. Yeah, exactly. They had been taking fire from M19, and I think M19 was nading up in the windows as well. So they can't really do a lot. But they did die, Molman. They did die. Ghost killed them. Guys, that was game number 4. Interesting one. I like that we went a little more in depth. Die earlier! Why you mad, bro? It's only a game. Why you mad? That was a ghost win. Here you go. Wait, did OMG win a game? Aha, this is gonna be interesting. How does OMG win a game in this tournament? Plane. Boom. So to be expected, Navi will go out here. Snake will go Novo. Yes. Center circle, interesting. My prediction, Cloud9 will go take this, but they will also send a scout up here. Like, I think this is normally a split that Cloud9 likes to play in the first circle. So we'll see if Profi or Moody goes up to scout this, or if they all go here instead. Anything else worth looking at? I'm interested to see when OMG will rotate. OMG, they have this area for themselves now. They're not being contested. They're gonna go up here. Potentially split 2-2 with that. If not, then they'll go here. And I didn't see these games. This is just me basing analysis off of what they've done other games. I did not see the last 2 games. So don't tell me what ends up happening other than I just saw that OMG won. My bet is that OMG will go to this compound early as well. Divine, they're splitting. Water, Secret is up there, and they have Paranka down here. What the? Oh, they're looting. Non-Pachinki Hill, what do you mean? Cloud9, they never send people up here, not in this circle. They would never go up here. Do they? Huh. We'll see. I guess we'll see. I would expect them to go here, without a doubt. Oh, Haranga goes up here. And as I said, OMG rotating early. They decide to go here instead. Okay, makes sense. Maybe they saw Haranga over here. They do split 2-2 that direction. I guess this was a little more northern. Maybe that makes sense. I would assume that this would have been the 2-2 split. But considering that the circle is further south, I guess that makes sense too. Except from here, you can't really... I guess you can... It's a long hold, but you can do that too. Yeah, had the circle been a bit further north, like had it maybe been up like this, and like this, then I'm pretty sure that they would have focused north side of Pachinki instead. But you know what? Actually, I kind of like this, because you know what FaZe has done in all the games where we've had these circles? FaZe have gone Potato Hill and gone inside the city. So you know what? I think that could be the reason. They sit nerf down here. They go up here as well to prevent FaZe from going Pachinki, because both those games, both the one that Cloud9 won and also the one that FaZe won over here, they went Pachinki. So that could actually be that they went down here to scout and see if FaZe they went inside Pachinki. That's a good call. Good call, Moment, or whoever said that. And smart play by Cloud9 as well. I did not even think about that before just now. Both the games where the circles have been like this, FaZe have gone Pachinki. I didn't see that game. No, I didn't. I have no idea what happens. I'm just trying to base strategy off of what they have done in other games. Navi, sitting up here, scouting this. They've been here for like all the games in this area of the map. Makes sense. Knights, rotating Potato. Divine, YOLO pushing. Okay. What the hell are Knights doing? So Knights, they... Oh, okay. They get forced down by Atletico. And then they go here instead. Mexi. He gets shot at, I would assume, here. Turns around. This could be what doesn't allow for them to push Pachinki. Because if you look at the way Mexi was driving, that was just full speed down towards Double Barns. Look at his rotate. Whoop, that's too far. Look at this. He was going straight towards it. Goes back, and now they go over and go inside Pachinki. I told you, they go inside Pachinki. But now Cloud9, they get pushed out, I guess. Or as this new circle pops. Let's see what happens. I don't know. Again, Ghost, why are you split this way? I really don't get it. Ghost, they play so well when they keep all four guys together. And somehow they constantly get caught off guard when they split. So now let's see. Vitality, they came across. What is... Oh, Snake, they went West Bridge as well to go across there. OMG, pretty decent 2-2 split. Navi, they're still sitting all four guys in here. Liquid, they've decided to push north side. They have teams knocked. They've been fighting 4 AM for this compound in like 4 games. And now they do it again. Hopefully it won't cost them too much. As soon as the circle pops, K-Mind and Moody go up towards their teammates. Makes sense. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm not calling anything. They're sitting like this. New circle pops, and as soon as it pops, maybe it's just a foot race for Vitality and OMG. Let's see what happens now. It is, and Vitality wins. OMG wins. Vitality stopped. They saw they were going, and they back off. James gets finished off, I guess. Yep. No, he's not. He's not. He's alive. He's alive. They actually just sent it. OMG, man. China #1. Send it in and take it. Easy. You gotta commit to it sometimes, small man. You can't play scared. You gotta commit to it. You gotta send it, and you get it. Yeah, for sure they were smart. No, you know what? I think looking at how they drove, you can't really see it completely off of the map. But look, we'll play it, and we'll play it in 8 times speed. But we won't pause before they actually turn around. First of all, Mikoya and Extreme 2G is shooting at them, so they kind of just keep on driving. But let's see what happens. Now they stop. They stopped when they saw clouds come in. Oops. They didn't stop before they came up over the top and saw clouds drive there. They see him down here. Then they stop and let him come in. I don't know why McCoy left, though. That would have been like the easiest quad kill for Extreme and McCoy. But again, Balog and Frolicher, they weren't there. Had they all been up here, I'm not sure why they were sitting down here to begin with. Had they all been up here together, they would have screwed over Vitality. Like they would have killed them easily. So Ghost make their way in there. Navi, they go from red 2-story up to Barnes. Liquid now realizing they have to back off. James does get knocked again, so he goes down. Knights, they have double Barnes. Secret, they're sitting in the bottom. Why don't Secret just scout 12 stack and go up there? Vici is rotating. Where are you going? Are they going all the way over and around? Whoa. All the way over? That's, you know what, Vici? That's a smart rotation. I can completely respect that. You can scout yellows from the hills. They went up here, right? They had one guy sitting up here. You can scout from there. At least the front line. You might not be able to scout over here, but you could scout there. And you? I would say that you could. Or even if you have, they were sitting glass house earlier. They should be able to see if like, I don't know. I guess you might be right. It's a tricky, like it's risky because you'll only be able to see this. They could be sitting like 2-2 like that. But again, why would you have anyone sitting here? If you're gonna sit in yellows on the west side. If you're gonna sit yellows, you would sit here, here, and here, right? If you're gonna do anything. What would be the point of having people here? Then you would much rather just keep them split. Like this. Or like this. Or like have 3 guys over here. And 1 over here. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, let's see what they decide to do. They try. Oh, they go underneath up to the hill. Okay. I guess that makes sense too. But I must say, I like this rotation from Vici. They were sitting on the west side. Where were they? They were fouled. They were actually in chopsticks. So as soon as the new circle pops, they realize they probably wanted to go in. But they've seen Secret shoot at Navi and realized there's no room for us to get in from this side. Also, you have Pachinki Hill and everything. So they decided to say, you know what? We'll just take the safe rotation because the majority of teams have come in from the west anyway. So smart rotation from them, that's for sure. Liquid, again, smart from them as well. They just spent a little too much time, so unfortunately they lost James. Bukunyao goes up the hill, takes control there. His teams come with him. Smart. Not 100 yards. I'd say 200. I'd say 200. Probably like 200. 300 maybe. Base, they're fighting knights in the city. What? Why leave this for this? I guess it makes sense to have one guy in the city in case the circle goes there, but if he has to leave again, he's dead. Okay, this is interesting. So new circle pops. Atletico, they're still sitting hilltop. They probably don't want to keep doing that for much longer. Vitality, they know that this down here is open. They don't need to send anyone down there, but that's good to keep in mind. Especially considering that the next circle is gonna go south guaranteed, or gonna go away from water guaranteed. Ghost, they have a good 2-2 split. Again, not sure exactly why they're split. What do you mean? OMG, they were here, then they went up here, and then they went down here. They have moved at least 1 kilometer, man. At least 1 kilometer. Don't fill us with your lies just because you don't like Asian teams. Some might argue that OMG has a decent circle this game. Some might argue. I would agree with the people that argue that. Now, Navi, full on Navi. I like this. Navi, they've been playing it so safe this tournament. Battlein, extremely safe player. I don't mind that at all actually, but Battlein is a really safe player. Sadovnik, don't know too much of him, but he seems to be a rather safe player as well. So Navi, they just send it. Okay, Navi sent it too deep. Navi sent it too deep. Yup, they sent it way too deep. Especially considering that Pokemon and shit weren't even there. I'm not sure what that was. Yeah. I was just gonna compliment them for playing aggressive, but that was probably too aggressive. But this is kind of the issue, right? When you hit this point, if you're full speed in a vehicle, you have 4 guys from Atletico, they start shooting at you. You have OMG, they start shooting at you. At this point, you cannot turn around. You cannot turn around, you will... And then only real... I mean, unless if you're gonna fly in the water, you're going into this compound. So as soon as they hit here, the only thing they can do is send it inside the compound. Like, all the other teams kind of just force them to go that direction, kind of. Watch NIP. Okay, NIP, they're rotating. Safe. Far out and safe. Liquid, they have decided to split 3-way split. Samty is on the middle of the road. Ibiza is in the forest. Mista is knocked. That's the split. Probably not on purpose. Secret, they smash it up the hill. Probably gonna take a lot of fire from Cloud9. NIP, they go underneath. Easy peasy, NIPC. Smart from NIP. I mean, it's kind of blind, but they can see the edge of the buildings. There's no one that comes out on the edge to shoot at them. Smart. So Liquid gets fucked. 4 AM, still miles up. We'll see how they do. Snake, they still haven't made up their mind. They just saw NIP go underneath them and take their potential position. That's kind of sad. 4 AM, they're finally coming around the south. The last remaining player, Boogie, now he finally gets out of Pachinki, and now he has to rotate as well. Now they're sending 3 guys into one shack, while NIP spends a lot of time splitting, because Vitality is doing other stuff. Boogie now tries to go down to his teammates, but that's going to be too late, probably. Circle's going to close in. VG still alive. Smart plays by them. Voxic and the guys from Knights, they're sort of very split in their position. Let's see. Boom. Some might argue that OMG is in a good spot here. Vitality, they get completely screwed, I would assume, by both Secret, Atletico, OMG, and NIP. Like, all of them can shoot down this direction. Cloud9, they're still just chilling. Base, they're inside the city. And now Cloud9 pushes up the hill. They take full control of forest. How could it put them on the edge? I guess had it hard shifted east, they would still have been in. Like, OMG, no matter where you go with this circle, they're gonna be in. They might be on the edge, but they're gonna be in. Like, they have a guy in Wizard, that means that they're gonna be in. No matter what happens, OMG will be in this circle. No matter where it goes. They might be hard shifted away from, but they're still gonna have like 100, 200 meters on the edge of the circle where they'll be in. Play the statistics, man, Mulman. Play the odds. Now, finally, we got 4 guys together. Oh, make that. No, they're all 4 alive. They're all 4 alive. Ghost, they push up to the forest line. They can push up the hill here. Take the fight with NIP. 4 guys together. Both of them are good fighting teams. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins that. In the meantime, everybody's playing safe. Knights and Face, they start playing or fighting each other up here. 1 goes down. 2 goes down. Voxic went down. Crema and Texas are still alive. NIP, they actually back off from this and give Ghost room. That's interesting. Now, Cloud9, they come up to try and third party this, it would seem. Atletico, they once took it in, but OMG is shooting at them. Circle. Samty, how are you doing down there, buddy? How much longer will you stay alive? What can you play here? Like, what do you do? NIP, they have the forest. They have to stay down here. Do not cross anywhere. OMG, they can stay in the 2-story and behind the shack. As long as they keep this clear. Survive! Yeah, I don't know how much longer that's gonna be. Is he prodding behind a vehicle down here? There's a tree maybe. But I mean, it's just gonna be a matter of time, right? As soon as the circle closes in, he has to be spotted. Ghosts, they commit to the building, despite the fact that all these guys can see them. That's scary. NIP, they're still sitting on this side, trying to shoot out at 4 AM and Snake. Snake still have 3 players live, I believe, in this one building. That's pretty interesting. Circle starts closing in. Vitality still has 1 up. Ghost made some room for themselves. Trying to fight off OMG. They now have to push even further because their building is then 2 guys goes down, and that's going to be OMG eliminated. Oh, Ghost eliminated. Circle. I wonder if Ghost gets it. They do. Had they just been alive. Circle goes to Omega Clouds. Cloud9 forced to push down the hill. Gaxi goes down now. Vard and Miraku are all on their own. Where is Samty? I mean, in this game. How is nobody shooting at him? There you go. Is there a rock? There's a tree there. There's a tree here, around here. But how the hell does no one see him before that? I guess there's a bit of an angle here where I can't really see, like down this way. I'm just surprised that nobody sees him before that. Oh, tree plus a dash. Ah, okay. Okay, so he had some more cover. I was just gonna say, how the hell? Because there was like 1.5 circle. Like, he's there from so early on. When the other guys goes down, Ibiza goes down there. He's there for so long. I guess because everybody else was like, these guys, they were focusing up on Knights. Secret was fighting Atletico. So he gets down there with the vehicle when, I mean, people obviously know that he's around there, but they never really looked down there. And then they never focused there until late anyway. Huh. Interesting. The fucking Dasher ruined him. I mean, I guess it does kind of give away his position, but as much as it ruined him, it also kind of allowed for him to stay there for that long. So, I guess that's, I don't know. You gotta enjoy it as long as you can. I don't know, what does he get? Let's see. We fast forward a bit. So he gets taken down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th place. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7th place. Everything considered. I mean, everything considered. Had he not had that vehicle, then he would have been killed here. If it wasn't because he was still in that Dasha and made it over here, then he would have gone down here with the other guys. And that's probably more like a 15th place or something. So getting 7th in that game is, everything considered, pretty decent. Nonetheless, Cloud9, did he get 2 guys there? Profi goes along, K-Mine. No, K-Mine got, oh no, yeah, take down there. He gets down 1, okay. Yeah, exactly. They had to push down. Knights managing to stay alive despite the cluster that happened up here. I guess they can thank Cloud9 for a little bit of assistance there. NIP, they're sitting on the rock. That's down by the road. Lynxy tries to push out solo player. Goes down. Does he get a double? Does Lynxy take out Knights by himself? Or was... it's going to be added to this where you get to see the shots and the kill feed. It's going to come, I think, on Wednesday. The developer is going to add it. Did Lynxy actually solo take out both Kramer and Texas? Because, I mean, you can kind of see that he stops here. He must be shooting already, but how the hell do... That's surprising. I just can't really see who else it should be. Maybe OMG could see him from their position. Huh. So Knights go down. K-Mine's forced to push forward. Lynxy is probably going to die to the circle. He's just prone on the edge. Again, it's a little offset. He's probably around here. It's not completely precise with like this small things. Yep. Nah, I would think... Yeah, maybe probably could have seen him actually. He was like in Samty's position, so he might have been able to look up here because he had the tree. Could be. The fact that Vitality get top 4 in this game after everything they went through. I mean, I guess Shadow lives up to his name. Because how the hell did they not get wiped? He lost all his teammates right when NIP came down. And that was like in circle 3. And now we're in the final circle of the game. Does Vitality get 2nd this game or 3rd? Oh, he gets eliminated there. So he comes in. OMG, still 4 guys live. I mean, Everything considered. That's pretty impressive by OMG. I know that they got some circles down here. But thinking about they just take them out. Not a whole lot more to it. 2v1. Profit crawls for info. Oh, there you go. So, everything considered. OMG, they went center. Okay, so OMG, they go center in one circle, right? As center as they can. Cloud9, they split 2-2. Face, they go inside of Pachinki as we thought they would. And then they go center again. You can argue that they get lucky because they get all the circles down towards the compound, but I mean, they could have gone up here, right? Then it would have been screwed because they knew that they had a team up here, they had Ghost sitting over here, and they had Vitality. Like, how could they ever leave this compound? But I don't know. I think it's pretty good job by them. That was game number 5. Final game, guys. We're almost there. This is gonna be this is gonna be the game that we kind of accidentally started on before. Let's see. Final game. I don't want to look at who won the game. Now I accidentally saw it anyway. Feels bad. So, plane north to south. Navi out early. Snake are gonna go towards Novo, right? Yeah. Not too much to it. And this was where it was fun because, okay, so Phase they hot drop. You can call it whatever you want. Phase they drop Pachinki. Last game of the tournament. They're behind Cloud9. They know that they have a gap. I don't remember how big the gap was. I don't remember how big the gap was before last game from Face down to Liquid, but they know. I mean, if we want to win this game, we have to make sure that Cloud9 doesn't get points. We need to get a ton of points. Cloud9 needs to get no points because the gap is still there. And even if we win a game, we'll still need to get more points than the gap between us and Cloud9 to win. Like, so even if they win, if Cloud9 get 3rd place and X amount of kills, they still wouldn't win the tournament. So I respect what Face do here. K-Mind realizes this, Moody realizes this, Nerf realizes this, Profit doesn't have a lot of chances, runs into the building, gets spotted out by Yemty. Mexi and AT goes on a hunt for Nerf. They get him taken down finally. I have to watch. I have to go into the bots and watch that. I didn't get to see the last game yesterday, and now FaZe realized, okay, we've taken down 2 of them. So we'll see what we can do with that. Military circle. That's interesting. So one thing is FaZe, they got down 2 of the guys from Cloud9. That's all good. But I would honestly argue that the best circle Cloud9 could get here is a military circle. It's gonna sound weird, but if you're not going to try and get a center position and take out people anyway, if you just swim across super late, like there's so many ways you can go undiscovered trying to get to military, especially with the new, like the ways they've changed, like added many more trees here and the ways that they've changed down here. I would argue that the best solo snake circle you can get in these sort of games would be a melee game. I would like to hear what you guys think. I don't know what placement they get this game because it looks like they're running straight into Divine. No, they actually get away from that. But melee game, nonetheless. OMG, they're already across. Smart. Circle pops. Where is OMG? They're looting. They're not even gonna loot. They just go across immediately. I like that. Great play from OMG. Nice reaction. That Atletico, they've gone across as well. Wait, are they Okay, so Atletico across early as well, not expecting Snake to be here. They probably thought Snake were West Coast or something. I'm not sure if that's bad preparation or if it's just a chance kind of play that doesn't work the way that they want it to. Huh. Efa probably will go down there. Neverhor is still on the other side. The guys, when they rotated, got taking shots from Ghost, and then they realized it's not an open rotation anymore. Liquid gonna start rotating down. Are they going early? Huh. That's new. I'm only basing all of this off of Polaris, where they went extremely late to the bridges, but now they're actually driving early for boats. I like that. M19, they're looting or taking boats up by south of Kameshki. There should be boats available too. What do you mean? What do you mean, James? The small details? I mean, the guy that I'm working with who's developing this software, we will get like the player count, team count over here. We'll have just like in GLL, like the full team tracker. And then if I press a guy, like for example, if I press you, like right now with my mouse, I click on you, then your name is gonna come up here and your stats for the game. So every time you take a step, it will add to the travel distance. Every time you shoot and hit someone, your damage will go up. Every time you use a bandage, it'll say bandage used, whatever. Those sort of things. And then underneath we'll have the entire team stats as well. So if that's the stuff you're talking about, then yes. True. But how would you ever get that? Is that something... I understand what you're saying, because there's a shit ton of things going on, and the observers can only focus on so many things at one point in time. But how would you... Like, is that on the observer to notice that? Or is that on the casters to notice it, because they have the map stream as well? Where did Liquid loot? They went looted Yasnaya, right? Yeah. They looted normally. They just rotated out earlier and went for boats. I mean, the fact that Liquid see FaZe in the kill feed, that means that doesn't matter if they're over here, if they're over here. Liquid knows that FaZe and Cloud9 are together. There you go. It's a great... I mean, those things, I guess over time, honestly, over time will be figured out and noticed. I think right now, and I've never been an analyst in an event, so I don't know how Toughies and all the guys, how they work with, like, how when they sit and watch the game, what they focus on. But I think right now the main focus is on if anything crazy out of the ordinary happens. So for example, the whole FaZe and Cloud9 thing, obviously that's gonna grab their attention and they'll start talking about that. And then, let alone the fact that it's a military circle, will be like, okay, so when are people gonna rotate? Who goes for this and that, and what happens? Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I think this tool could be a gateway for that to be, for that to happen. Because think about this: I can go in here. And we talked about this earlier as well, but I can go in here, I can go to any tournament I want. I can go scroll down, GLL Season 2, Finals, whatever the fuck game I want to see. We can take the very final game of the tournament where Team Gates win. I can find, as long as it's API and it's saved, I can go and look at this. As long as it's saved, I can find it and I can look at the games. So, and this is live API updated, right? So as soon as the tournament is over, once the scores are in, I can scroll around and look at this as much as I want to. Which means that, for example, if you're at an event as a analyst guy, game ends, casters say, oh my god, this was crazy, these teams got this kill and that kill and whatever they say, and then back to you, analysts. And then they'll say, woohoo, that was a great game, nice win for X team. Let's look at some of the highlights. And then they'll watch all the highlights, and then by the time that the highlights are playing, the analysts will have this program open on their computer, and they can be like, exactly what happened. Like, so they've written down, look at this. Liquid, they actually went East Coast for boats. Normally they rotate across really late. How did that work out? And then you can see, so Liquid go out here. Okay, so FaZe got a kill onto one guy there. That means that must have been why. This only took me, I mean, now I knew it beforehand, obviously, but this only took me 30 seconds to figure out. So while the replays are playing for 2 or 3 minutes, they will be able to sit and watch through this. And then as we get to the, oh, welcome back. One thing that was really important in this game, look at what happens here. So Liquid, they decide to go East Coast early on. Normally we see them go over the bridge, tank the blue for a while, but they actually go early. How come they knew this was like available? Oh, kill feed showed that, you know, on and on and on. And I agree with you. There are things that are, to me, at least important to be pointed out, which doesn't happen. But then again, in the heat of the moment kind of thing, you can only you can only focus on so many things. I just think, yeah, there is a set way that PUBG is being broadcasted right now, where if we go too in depth with, because there even when I'm casting, there are some really specific things that I want to talk about. But if I go too much like hardcore detail in depth, first of all, a lot of the viewers that are new to competitive PUBG will fall off and not understand it. And second of all, it will take up time, especially if it's in-game, like while the game is playing. It'll take up time for me to explain it where other stuff might happen, and then people will complain about it. So I agree that it's probably an analyst thing to notice. Or not to notice, because you can notice it when you're casting as well. It's just, even though it's super nice info to have, and I agree with you, I mean, the fact that you guys play it this way, I was surprised just now when I saw this video, like, oh, you guys actually rotating early. But obviously it has something to do with the fact that you get... Did you see them get knocked as well? That's what I was thinking about. Like, first time they go over there, it's like, oh, okay, makes sense. They didn't want to fight for vehicles, so they go... like, they went... the first 2 times they went there, they actually only went there when the plane was south to north. Even when the plane was east side, north to south, they would still go down towards... If it was north to south, they would go down towards, what do you call it? Like east of Valle del Mar, down towards the prison island and all that stuff. But did you see the knocks as well? I don't know if this distance, if you can see knocks also. When did that happen? By this time, you're already in the boats. Flying, landing. I guess K-Mind shot a 4 AM player. Is that why? K-Mind, he shot one of the 4 AM players. So you would know that they were close to 4 AM. And then all this shit happened afterwards. You would know that FaZe was close to Cloud9 as well. Because I don't see 4 AM or FaZe running over any players from 4 AM. Didn't he just get killed up here? By K-Mind? And then you know, okay, if Cloud9 is close to 4 AM, then they must be here. And if FaZe is close to Cloud9, then they must be here. That would be the... Yeah, that would be the call. And I mean, you can see you guys are going immediately down there, right? Because as soon as you see K-Mind and 4 AM fighting, you know that 4 AM is obviously in this area. And as soon as you see FaZe and Cloud9 fighting, then you know, well, they've got to be there too. That would make sense. Shit on TV. It's a product that other productions are creating right now. It's like a software for viewing or reviewing games in PUBG. And I have the honor of testing it out and giving them feedback on what should be added and stuff. So that's kind of cool. Oh, no, it's not available. Not yet. I don't know exactly what their plan is. I think right now they just want to sort of give it to tournament organizers and casters and that kind of stuff for broadcasting. I don't know if they want to give it to teams at some point also so that you can sit and watch back games and stuff. But there's still a lot of back-end things and like a lot of production things that, or sort of like development things that needs to be done. So it's not going to be out yet, that's for sure. No, but I think that would make sense. Like, K-Mind gets a finish up onto 4 AM. FaZe takes out Cloud9, or some of them. Easy call. Boom. That would make sense. And I agree with you. That's something that should definitely have been noticed. But, again, many things happening. FaZe, they're sitting in second place. Cloud9 is in first. At this point, even though, honestly, just caster-wise, at this point, and I would probably do it myself too, honestly. I would still, at this point, be talking about, I mean, most casters at least would be like, oh my god, this crazy FaZe thing. Whoa, 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 crazy, what? And then nothing happens. I mean, then obviously rotations happen. Stuff. Yeah, exactly. They would focus on FaZe because that was out of the ordinary, or at least unexpected. You were gonna go Rest Bridge? Really? You can see it. Westbridge, nope. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You decide to go east instead. It's a much better call too. It's a much better call. So yeah, exactly. You were down there for a while. Should have been caught. I agree with you. Should have been caught. But then again, when you're, I mean, unless if you're a caster, because just like me now, I will have the main screen here, and the casters don't touch anything, right? They will have the main screen. I don't know exactly what the setup was for PGL. You might know. I don't. Casting screen here, map screen somewhere else. So if they're just casting off of what the observer is showing them, then it makes sense that they don't spot you guys. I'll look through the VOD and see if they even film you guys at any point being over here. That'll make sense. Because if the cameraman went over to you guys and you were all of a sudden in Mills of Power, the casters would hopefully probably be like, wait, what? But if the cameraman wasn't there and the casters were just looking at the main screen, not really paying so much attention to the map feed because there had been so many things happening. Like at this point, they're probably looking at Moody and Canemind and they're like, oh my god, if these guys want to get their win in this game, how are they gonna rotate from West Coast when all the boats are already taken by, I don't know. You know what I mean? They'll probably be 100% focusing on what's happening with these two guys right now because they're kind of the name of the match in the sense that if they go out now, then they will not win, most likely. So if this was completely missed, which is unfortunate, then it should for sure have been noticed by the analysts. Because the analysts, they're sitting with everything available. I mean, they're watching the game, they have the map feed, and they don't have to actively do anything while the game is being played. To me, that would be an interesting thing to mention. Because one thing is that FaZe do this, and that's interesting enough in itself. But as soon as something big that's out of the ordinary happens, at least to me, it's always interesting to see how that impacts the rest of the game. Like one thing is that Moody and Canemind get screwed over, and they're forced to go hard West Coast, and it's a military circle, and oh, what are they gonna do? But how does it influence anything else? It influenced you guys pretty hard. It gave you a much easier rotation. Like had you gone, look at this, had you guys gone West Coast, by the time that you rotate out, had you gone West Coast, Divine, they were rotating here as well. They're gonna go, you guys are probably down here at this point. Maybe down here. Had you guys just sent it West Coast? Let's just try and drag and draw. I mean, you guys would have been down there with Divine. That would have been a whole other game for you. Not saying that you would necessarily have fought, because you might have, you probably would have even stopped and scouted, right? Go underneath, scout, go forward. OMG, they were still sitting down here. If they hear 8 vehicles coming this direction, they're probably going to try and camp it as well. I agree. But yeah, I don't know. To me, and that's not against... I agree. Completely agree. I don't know. I feel like when you're, and this is nothing against, because there's a very fine balance between the things. There's a very fine balance. One being what you know, like your actual knowledge of the game and everything. Can you spot all these things, right? Can you spot it? Do you notice all these things? That's one thing. But another thing is, one thing is that you might know it, but can you explain it to a viewer so that it makes sense? If you don't have the, not necessarily casting, just if you don't have the talking skills needed to be representable on a stage or on a TV screen, then it might be that, that's right. Every time, I always like to compare it. Every time you see those interviews, like in the news where like, oh, biology professor has figured out cure for cancer, I don't know, then he'll be like, oh, and then this happened, and try to be like, oh, and this molecule was this and that, and as a viewer of the news, you're like, well, I guess I'm pretty dumb. Because he, of course, knows exactly what he wants to talk about, but he's just not able to explain it in a way that the common man will understand. And for me, at least as a caster, that's something I really emphasize. Like, I might know and could go into complete detail with, oh, why does James loot this building instead of that building? Whatever, doesn't really matter. But I could go into detail with a lot of things. And one thing is that you might know everything that's happening, but if you're not able to explain it in a way that the viewer understands it, then you might have been clever, but if your viewer doesn't get it, then from a production perspective, then it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So it's like a balance between being a good on-screen person and knowing things. There's been some times where players have been casters, players have been analysts, and you can tell that they know a shit ton of things, but then you get those cluster moments where it gets chaotic and everything happens, and they say all the time, because they're just not used to the whole casting thing, and that screws them over. So I think there's a balance between the two. You need to be smart. That's why I do this every day, honestly. I know that I will never be a player. I will never have the mindset of a player. I respect that, and I've learned to live with that. I will never be the player analyst that can go into the mind of the player and know everything from that perspective. But I damn sure will do everything that I can to know as much about the players as I can. Silva, thank you. More people agree with me than people that went against me in that regard. I'm glad that you agree with me too. And it's not really a big thing either. I didn't even mean for it to be a big thing when I wrote it. I guess it just got kind of blown out of proportion. I don't know. It's just, to me, I just want to, I don't know. Even when it's events that I'm not working on, I still want it to be as good as it can be. I agree. Completely agree, James. 100,000% agree with you. And to me, I mean, I don't want to sound, no, not even, no, actually, there are probably a billion things that I would miss too in the early game. But I feel like my style of casting, and that's why everybody tell me, Tobias, you need to find a cast. Yeah, spoiler alert, my name is Tobias, not Toby. Yeah, I know. That's all over and done. I know. That was my mistake in the end. No, but people always tell me, you need to find like a designated co-caster. Yeah, I know. Exactly. When I saw that tweet the next day, I was like, but I guess there was already 8 likes on Scoom's repost on Moses's tweet too late. I don't know. That was fucking hilarious, that meme, gotta admit it. Because unwanted opinions aren't always incorrect opinions. No, but to go back to it, I don't know. I mean, James, you're like probably one of the top potential spokespeople for things that can be changed in the game. And if you go out and I don't know if you spoke to the casters about it, but if you go out and show them, guys, look at what we did here. How did you not notice this? No, I talked to Sims afterwards. We talked on Discord. We're all cool. Me and Sims are all cool. Don't worry about that. He didn't try to roast me. He even said, like, we talked afterwards. Don't worry about that at all. I think Sims is a nice guy. Nobody, like, you're one of the guys that can go out and change stuff. So if you tell the analysts, guys, when we do shit like this, you better fucking pay attention. We just did something that you would never see us do in any other match, and you missed it. If you tell them that, probably not that way, but if you tell them that, they will start looking for those things. And I know technically for you it doesn't really matter because you're a player, but I mean, this would have been good. Oh my god, the Liquid guys, they're like 200 IQ players. Not because you have a good reputation as it is, but if you go and talk to the analysts, whoever is working the event where they miss it, I believe it's, but trust me, the analysts, they want to hear that. Like, they want to know these things because they will look for it. Had it been one of the Secret players, and this is, again, I'm not gonna join in on the hate on Secret for being bad, but had it been one of them saying, guys, you missed my double kill, then they'd probably be like, well, you weren't really the name of the tournament, so there were more important things to talk about. Here, it's, I mean, had both, again, I don't remember the exact point difference, but had both FaZe and Cloud9 gone in like the 15th or 16th place, and you guys had gotten a shit ton of rotation kills and won the game with 20 kills, you probably could have won the game, and then it would have been like, okay, I guess we were focusing on FaZe and Cloud9 the entire game. What actually happened to Liquid? So, believe me, James, you're one of the guys that can get those things done. So if it matters to you, then tell them. You can still, I mean, that's not too late. It was yesterday. Tell them. Believe me. It's just right now, as I said before, there's a certain way that the game is being analyzed that it's more. And this is, again, I know Toffees is a fucking smart guy. I know all the other guys are really clever too. But to me at least, and this, I've learned to try not to say things. But to me, the recaps of games, like the analysis between games right now, are more recap based. It's more, oh, and then Snake did this, and then these guys did that, and then these guys went here, and in the end they won the game. Which is good to explain. It's just, we also kind of saw it. It's not so much these guys, like they'll say, oh, and then Liquid went to multi-power and took boats. That was a smart play, because then they got across faster. But they won't really emphasize on why Liquid did it or how it came to happen. It will be more of a, like they will try and explain 10 things and go a little in depth with all of them instead of talking about 3 things and then like go deep into it. And that's what I was saying before. If you go too detailed into things, then a lot of people just tend to fall off because they don't really care, like viewers. I agree with you. I think it's super exciting. To me, the early game is sometimes the most exciting things. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He wants to be well prepared, and that's great. He's a great guy. But again, I think, and I'm not analyst at events, so I guess I'm in the wrong for trying to say how things should have been or should be. But I think I think analysts are trying to focus on too many things, and it becomes more of a recap, becomes more of a then this happened, then that happened, than people trying to dive into the important things and say why they happened or how they happened. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, and in all honesty, I mean, had this happened at any other point in the game, had you did this in game, in any other game, in any of the 11 other Erangel games, it would have been caught. It's only because this thing happened. It's only because of this that this got completely overshadowed. I hope so, at least. I was not very pleased with the observing for PGL either. I mean, I can, yeah, no. I think it was just a timing thing. I don't know what more to say about it, but I hope that makes sense. Well, fair enough. In the meantime, guys, we can continue with the game, shall we? It's been a long time talking about game number 6 and a lot of other things. Use the map stream to look up. I agree. And that's what they have normally. Yeah, but you can't really do that the same way. I think it becomes too clustered because the map stream doesn't always zoom in when you need it to. That's why this is great. Look at this. If I put it max speed, it auto zooms. You never even have to worry about it. I can zoom in and out if I want to, but you don't have to, right? I hope so. I know that they're gonna test this tool now for GLL for Wingman. I think they're gonna work on it. I'm just glad to be the one that's helping develop. Like, it's me, as far as I know. It's me, and then it's the guy developing it. And the guy in charge of, like, the company. We're the ones who are working on this, and I think it's gonna be great too. Rick Silva, we haven't gone to that point yet. We haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gotten there. So let's go back. Let's backtrack this. FaZe, they go crazy. They do the hunt. Liquid, we missed it, or people missed it, but they went down there. Obviously, makes sense. They saw the kill on 4 AM. They knew they were there. They saw FaZe. They knew they were there. Boom, easy clap. Take a boat. Now, It's Rick Silver, fuck's sake. How far can you zoom in? I think you can zoom in like this maybe? Here we can go like this. So if you want to watch, oh, look at this N, then you can do that. But if you don't, then it's fine too. My coffee is starting to kick in. It's a bad timing. Anyway, Liquid, they go down to the shore. And we missed it. I noticed it now. I even said now, like when we watched this, I said, Liquid, they're rotating surprisingly early. So I probably would have added 2 and 2 together and gotten that info. But thanks, James, for coming in and mentioning it too. You've ruined my moment of being able to impress people there. Noah rotates out early. No, he doesn't. He's still looting. K-Mind and Moody, they have to figure out what they want to do. I would actually say, for K-Mind and Moody, stay on the north side. Stay up here. All they have to do in this game, and I didn't watch this game, so no spoilers. All they have to do, all Cloud9 has to do this game is survive. Pull a M19. Don't do anything for the entire game. Tank blue as much as you can and do not do anything. That would be my advice to Cloud9. And I'm pretty sure that's how they're going to play it too. NIP, they're going to go down the west side. They want to rotate out early. They know that Navi is up here. So if Navi gets a jump on them, they will come down and get boats earlier. Makes perfect sense. Divine comes across. We talked about that before. Had Liquid gone this way too, they probably would have run into Divine. That could have been them dead at this point. Or Divine. I mean, they would have been bad for both teams anyway. Ghosts get across. Nice. I like to see this. Do you guys remember day one? When we had a military circle that... the military game where Vitality was sitting down here and they won it on the edge where Drayden couldn't crawl up. Pretty interesting game. In that game, Ghost, they were looting Milta and they ended up getting killed on the bridge alongside M19. They had to swim under and get screwed over. And I was like, why are you not going across earlier? Now they did, and they're on the island. Smart, Ghost. Great play. Good job. I'd like to see that. So... Gaxi, NIP, they're rotating. These guys, they just have to play it. Like, just take your time. Do not hurry. Base going for boats and ferry pier. It's a little late to notice that, but yeah, I agree. They changed up things on the final day. That's why they got 2 wins. Like, on the very final day, they got 2 wins. There's a reason for it. Yeah, they could gatekeep, but what would they get of that? If they stay over here, expect people to come and try and take boats, then odds are that by the time they come across, another team has taken these 2 compounds. And where do they run then? That's just too much of a, like, they don't need... The thing is, they don't only need... I mean, Cloud9 could have gone all the way across for all they know. They lost track of them up here when they were still looting. They have no idea where Cloud9 is right now. FaZe don't only need Cloud9 to do bad. That's one thing. They need them to do bad. And they have already done as much as they could to screw over their game. They killed 2 of their players early game. They don't only need them to do bad. They also need to get a good game themselves. And if they spent the entire game sitting over here trying to gatekeep people and the next circle hard shifts east, then they're going to get 10th place and then they won't win it anyway. They need X amount of points to surpass them, right? And I mean, Liquid is still in the game. They haven't lost any players yet. And I don't remember exactly what the point difference was, but I think they have done everything they can to harm Cloud9. Now they just need to play their own game. So no gatekeeping and trying to sit over here and hold people. 600 points could still be a thing. If FaZe spent too much time gatekeeping Cloud9, not knowing that they're there, of course, then, and Liquid wins the game with 15 kills because 2 of the top teams are dead. All of a sudden, FaZe doesn't get first or second place, they'll get third because Liquid come around and take first place, right? So, yeah, don't focus on that anymore. They've done everything they could to harm Cloud9. Yeah. Secret, late rotation, coming in. 4 AM, they're coming in. Navi, they're coming in. They're all going to get completely butchered on top of each other. Circle goes center. I like to see that. I hate it when it goes onto one side. This is always so fucking much water. So center circle, nice. Everything is up for grabs. Liquid goes uphill towards observatory. NIP, they come underneath to took the boat. Now the thing is for NIP, they don't have any vehicles. And that's always the thing when you go to military, right? If you take the boats, you miss out on vehicles. So they can, fortunately, run up here and take something. There's nobody sitting in this compound, which is rare. Sometimes, like most of the time, you would see people sitting in this compound. But them being the only team having gotten underneath, because Knights, they sailed, but they went up over here. Liquid sailed, but they went Novo. M19 sailed, but they went here. FaZe went up here. Yeah, and other than that, they're the only team going around the south side, because they were the only team taking the west coast. Navi, they were up here. They went down here, but because Snake, they looted east coast, or looted Novo, then there's no west coast team. And Navi, they were already up here, so there's no Prim team. You see, these are things that you got to keep in mind. NIP, they could have the fear, of course, that Knights or another team from the east coast came across earlier. But knowing that Navi is North George, knowing that with the plane, Snake will have gone Novo, they know that Prim is open, they know that the entire west coast is open, and the only thing they have to do now is get down the beach. That's why you saw NBS drive so early. Get down the shoreline before Navi gets the chance to leave North George, because if you can get the boats and get across here, there's no way in hell Navi is going to get up there before you. So smart play from them. They get up, they sail all the way underneath, get themselves a position. Smart. They changed some shots? What do you mean? Oh, yeah. They were probably shooting a bit here, but that's about it. So a lot of teams on the side here, K-Mind and Moody swimming across. Of course, again, doing everything they can to stay alive. So swim, do not attract attention to yourself. Just get across safely. Knights, they're making their way in slowly but steadily. Navi, they get across. Looks like 4 AM. They got screwed over a bit. They're now forced to swim. They'll be able to do so. It looks like Morningstar in the water. He's going to swim as well. Moody and K-Mind, they're split. Again, play it safe. And this might actually be the smartest thing for them to do, honestly. If they're sitting on top of each other and they get spotted, it's just easier to hide as one person than it is to hide as two. MCCGV, thank you so much for the follow. Now they're playing as two snakes. It's just like, if you get spotted, hopefully I don't. Might as well. All they have to do is stay alive for as long as possible, right? It's easier to hide as one person than it is as two. Circle comes to a close. All teams are in already. Not a whole lot to it. Ghosts take pharmacy. Liquid, they're sitting in a really good spot top hill as well. Again, this is what they're allowed to do. Normally, you will see Liquid sitting here by this time, kind of. And then as the new circle pops, maybe not this late, but then they'll be making their way in. So instead of being this team, Liquid is now this team. You're allowed to go further in, and you can be the ones holding other people at bay instead of having to fight your way in. Because at this point, if you're driving across, obviously you have your vehicles, but where can you go? Like, how can you get around this? There's a huge freaking observatory here. What you could see, I would say an old Liquid, if James, if he's here, he can maybe correct me. An old Liquid could probably have gone and done something like this. That would have been a rotation that I wouldn't have been surprised to see from Liquid. I do not think Snake will do it, but that would have made sense. But again, this is also a pretty scary area because you have to bail your vehicles here unless if you're driving all the way down into the field. It's just, I mean, you don't want to drive over these sort of steep hill thingies. That's pretty, you just start rolling around. But nonetheless, they're in the circle now, so that doesn't really matter. Morningstar has to make a run for it, of course. Moody, he's probably just crawling along the edge. K-Mind's just trying to chill in the corner, stay alive. Everybody's making their way forward. Liquid, they will be able to gatekeep Snake. A lot of shots fired on them. FaZe is sitting on the, you have like the little valley going down here. They're sitting on one side, and you have Navi sitting on the other. Now they're pushing underneath them. That's interesting. So Navi full on commit to the push on up against FaZe here. Battlein gets down one guy. Mexi is alone. Yemti and FaZe, they have to survive now. Ooh. So FaZe, or Yemti is killed. FaZe is all by himself now. And now he has to do the exact same thing as K-Mind. Not only does he have to stay alive, but he also have to do this one. Please kill Cloud9. Please kill Cloud9. Please kill Cloud9. Because again, if he gets 5th and Cloud9 gets 7th, doesn't matter. They won't win it. He needs, I would say, I don't even remember the exact point difference, but probably a good 6-7 placement gap between himself and Cloud9 to win the tournament. And that might not even be enough, because I don't know how many kills they have at this point. Vitality, They swoop around the other side. Moody got knocked. He's not gonna get back up. K-Mind is just gonna do everything he can to avoid fights. Now he's gonna run into OMG, it would seem. He's proning. He's gonna crawl. Everybody's fighting. He's inside the circle. OMG now pushing out. They do see him, but look at this. FaZe went down immediately after. And that should be the victory right there for Cloud9. At FaZe, when they got pulled up on by... It looked like they kind of did, actually. Look at this. So FaZe, they're sitting here, right? Look at this. FaZe, they're sitting here. Na'Vi, they full on commit to the push. At this point, look at what happens. They have their vehicles. Na'Vi came over with vehicles, right? So they send it over. At this point, back off. It kind of seems like HC and Mix and MT wanted to do that. Well, the first phase and the MT wanted to do that, but Mexi and HC just got completely caught off guard and were taken out. Then they try to go down into the city. He gets spotted by OMG. There's just not a whole lot they can do from this position. It's like a big downhill towards the pharmacy, and it's really open around here, so you can't really do a lot from that position. So unfortunately, FaZe and both FaZe and Cloud9 get eliminated. Liquid fighting once again up on the top. This time it's up against Knights. There's not, I mean, there's rarely ever a whole lot to analyze off of this. Other than the fact that I like that Liquid disengaged from the Knights fight to push over on Na'Vi. They knew that they had taken casualties. Then they eliminate them. Get the res up. Now they're fighting OMG, but because they spent too much time fighting Na'Vi with OMG pushing up now on the edge. I don't think any of them are in the blue. They're just on the edge. Again, they're like here instead. Now Knights are gonna get the third party opportunity. So Liquid tried a third party one fight. They end up getting third party themselves. I would assume they all get fucked. They do. Clouds survives for now. They don't see him. NIP tried to push up towards Ghost. Doesn't end up working. Divine still alive. I'm gonna go back and watch Divine after this. Yeah, third party. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say that you asked for it, but looking at this, you take the fight with M19 and Snake, wipe them, great job. Morningstar has been chilling all game long. He gets spotted. Now you have to... Did you ever know that it was Knights that you were fighting? Did you get any knocks? No, so you don't get any knocks. So you don't know for a fact that it's Knights. Yeah, I know, and that we just talked about that. So Vitality and Na'Vi are fighting, and I complimented you guys for disengaging from the fight here. You only 3v4, you lost Samty, and you disengaged the fight. Makes perfect sense. But everything considered, the only place... Okay, so you knew it was Knights. Okay. The only place these guys can go, because this is like just downhill. There's like a tree here, something. I don't know. There's like a few trees, but everything here is downhill towards pharmacy, and you have like a bit of a ridge over here thingy. So everything is downhill towards pharmacy, where Ghost is sitting, and obviously Knights not having any vehicles won't sprint down there. So by the time that, I mean, this was a perfect timing for you guys. Couldn't really have done it any other way. Do you think so? I'm just thinking, if you're Knights, what can you do here? If you try and push across here, Ghost will spot you, like in the open area here, right? And Divine will be shooting at you as well when you try to run across. So that's going to be two teams shooting at you. Also, if they get knocked at any point, you guys would probably just turn around and then fuck them over. So what can Knights do? Because as soon as this happens... I mean, they just backtrack you. You guys fight and disengage. You're fighting them, disengaging, but they have nowhere else to go. The only place they can go is whatever room you give them. You know what I mean? Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no way they can push over here, because this is like a huge open area where Ghost can shoot up and Divine will be shooting at them at the same time. Like, there's no cover here pretty much. It's just like the big kind of valley area. There's a little dip around here, but that's about it. So they can never push down this way. The only way they can go is this way. Like, if they stay above the downhill kind of area towards pharmacy, they could stay up here, but they couldn't because the circle was shrinking. So the only way they could go was to follow you guys. And if they knew that they just got a knock on one, I mean, the best thing I guess that could have happened for you guys is because you take out Navi pretty quickly, but if OMG hadn't pushed up to third party, then you could have reset and then fought back this way. Because you take out Navi pretty quickly, but you lose one guy. At this point, Knights, they know that there's only 2 remaining. I mean, if they took out Mr. Took out Samty, so they will know that there's only 2 guys remaining, at least right now. And now all of a sudden OMG comes up as well. This is even better for them. It's just like, they know they're 4v2 potentially, and they see that you guys are fighting OMG as well. And they cannot go down here because Ghost is here, and NIP hadn't pushed yet, so they weren't really focusing on anything. They were just waiting for somebody to come running down here. But did they push? Didn't they just follow you? Didn't they just run with you? Like this way? Didn't they just go with you this way? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They cannot go anywhere else. They could only run behind you guys. They could only go this way. So any meter that you push this way, like any space you give them that direction, they'll follow you. Because they cannot rotate this way. Because it's in the open. So they're only, like, the only way Knights could go was this way. Yeah, maybe. But you couldn't not fight. I mean, it wasn't that you guys fought OMG, was it? Wasn't because they pushed you. Like, if you look at this, at least, it looks like they're pretty... they're the ones that are pretty determined to push you, and as soon as shots are fired, the Knights come riding on their horses down towards you guys. I mean, they have to make this play. They have to do this. Any team with any knowledge of anything would push this, especially if you're telling me that Liquid, or that Knights, they knocked and finished Samty. So they know that you're a 3-man team. They probably don't know that it's OMG that's down here, but yeah, I would argue that that's the only play Knights could make. It's a crazy, unfortunate timing for you guys, but yeah. But it's just with the circle shrinking in, because it was the way that it was, the only place they can sit and not get shot at from Ghost is where you guys were. Like, they can't sit here. They cannot sit here. Because this is like in the big open hill area, right? This is like on the flat pancake area down here. So the only place that could really sit would be up here with that circle. Yeah, exactly. It was just... had OMG not pushed you guys, you could have fought Knights instead. But then OMG would have third-partied you. It's the fact that you guys got, like, sandwiched, essentially. Because the only place you could sit in this circle... I'm gonna draw it like here. You could probably sit up here. I don't think, because the trees, like the trees that are down here, because of the branches and leaves and stuff, I think you can spot to maybe around here. You can probably spot, like, from the compound, you can probably spot up to here. So either Knights would have to just stay here and wait for the whoever wins this fight to push in, and then they could take down whatever was left. Either that, or as they see EB get knocked, just say YOLO and send it. That's like the only smart play they could make. Yeah, it was the last game. After they maybe could hide Knights, and where would you hide though? I mean, Knights, they have just fought you and killed Samty, right? They're gonna backtrack you. You fight Navi, EB gets knocked, he comes back up again. At this point, where can you hide? This is the last thing that happens, right? EB gets knocked. Now he's rest. Where do you hide here? Like, how do you avoid OMG seeing you and Knights seeing you in this position? Unless if you tank blue. Yeah, exactly. You're 3 in between 2 4-man teams. I mean, there's no way you can avoid that. Knights, they have to clear this side. They need to, especially with the new circle hard shifting north. Had this circle gone south, Knights could have pushed around this way, because these guys would have been forced to go up to the wall here. But because it shifts north, they cannot go here. I mean, everything here is like a big... This is a place you go if you want to die. So if paint, by the way. So if you're knights, what do you do? No, they sailed. They ran all the way here. But if you're in this position, because right now the knights haven't pushed you yet, but as soon as this circle pops, what are your chances? The fight has just finished. OMG, they cannot run into here. They cannot do this push, obviously. I think knights, they need to clear this. They cannot just sit up here and wait for you guys to push them. They need to clear this, especially because there are 4 guys alive and they know right now you're only 2. So it's a horrible position for you guys to be in, but I mean, yeah. I don't know what you guys or what any of the other teams could have done differently, because OMG, what could they have done? I guess with this circle, had this been in, there's no way OMG would have pushed out. Had any of the silos been in, they would have played there. Like, they would have sit over here 100%. But they cannot just prone, like, they can't play prone up by the fence here. That wouldn't make any sense. 4 people. Maybe if you were solo, you could do that. But 4 people, that wouldn't make sense. So they needed to push over. There were still 4 guys alive. So they have the force, right? Like, they have the upper hand in that sense. I think it's just like fucking horrible timing. You get fucked over there. Vard just sends it inside the compound on a bike, it seems like. Tried to make it across. He did manage to make it across, in all fairness, but his teammates go down. Knights, there's still 4 guys up. Clouds goes down. Now they're only 3. I think one of them got taken out by one of the ghost players. Divine, I wanna scroll back afterwards and see what Divine do. Atletico, McClutch, they try to come across. They're up by the wall now. Knights, they're on the edge. They want to secure everything. Nice split by Knights. I like that. Now they start fighting Divine, but they're gonna get third partied by Ghost. No, wait, go. No. Ghostfire is fighting Atletico. Is Vard gonna get second place this game? Probably not. He's gonna get third, right? Yeah, he gets third. Okay. And then Ghost have high ground. Ghost have the compound, and Knights, they're behind 2 trees or something like that. They get fucked over. Yeah, it's gonna end in the open. Nah, oh, it's important knock. Important knock. I don't know who got it, but that's an important knock. Because they have to leave the compound. Ghost has to leave the compound, and Knights have cover. Extreme 2G is still inside, but then they get the knock on Texas as soon as they get out. And that screws over Crema and Voxic. Had it been the other way around, had they just stalled, and then as soon as they're out, they would have knocked 1, they would have won them the game. And in the end, did he get a double in the end, Extreme 2G? Wait, what? So, yeah, he does. He gets a double kill. Boom. Boom. That's the second time in 2 games in a row they get 1v2'd. That's unfortunate. What did Divine do here, though? I'm kind of curious to know this. They come across real early. They were the ones that were rotating, that I said that you would have run into them, like, had you gone this way instead. So they go across. Let's pay attention to Divine for a second. And I think, do they go straight silos or straight hangers? No, first they sit up on hilltop. Nice split. I like this. So if it goes west, now the circle goes center. This is an interesting split. So they sit 2-2 in the hangers. I don't know if they're inside them or on top of them. But they sit 2-2 on hangers. NIP comes around. They will have heard that, obviously. So I think these guys are probably inside, since they didn't get any knocks on NIP. New circle pops. Do they leave now? Why does no one play this? Yeah, I don't know if they should, because this area, again, you can see, like, this is the whole valley thing. It just goes, like, up from here. It just goes straight down to Ghost with no cover. So if they try to push across, Ghost weren't finding anyone at this point. They didn't find anyone until NIP pushed up, and that was after you guys died. So if they try to push across, McCoy and Extreme 2G would have shot them, I think. But when does Divine go here? So Knights, they actually had this position. Okay, they actually have this position. Why do they leave that, though? That's the biggest question to me. Why does Knights leave this position? This is like the golden position in this circle. You can gatekeep anything out here, and you can hold the compound at bay. I guess they want to go up here before the circle shrinks, so that if it goes away, then they will be forced down. But they have vehicles, right? Oh, no, maybe they bailed their vehicles over on the other side. That could be. So instead of staying on the top, like there's a little hill area here, instead of staying here, they push above in case the circle doesn't go to them again. I guess that makes sense. But then they would still have been able to run across here without the compound shooting at them. Divine sees this. They go over. Smart play. Divine never engages in a fight if they can avoid it. Like, you never see Divine take a fight if they don't have to. Like, have to. Divine will try, at least that's how I've understood their playstyle. And how they won the games that they did. They were a little fortunate with the compounds that they were in, but Divine, to me, they will avoid every single fight. Like, their only force is to have the better numbers. If all the wins that they have, they are 4 guys alive in circle 6. All the wins that they have. They'll stay in their compound, they'll chill in there, they'll do absolutely nothing. I don't think they have a game Divine, unless if they're like rotation kills early. All of the wins that they have, their first kills would be like 5 to 6 circle. They would just chill in their compounds, lay low there. Once they're forced out, like they'll go out before they get, what do you call it? Like pinned down inside. So they know exactly when to leave the compounds. And then they'll just, because they're 4 guys alive, fuck people over. Okay, so Knight's third part. Okay, so technically, they don't know where Knights are, except that they know that they're somewhere here, right? I don't think they can see them because of the branch. Like, they have trees on their side and there are trees over here, so I don't think they can actually see them up here. Like, physically spot them. So they know that Knights are somewhere, I guess, technically, over here. They don't know, at this point, they don't know that they've pushed you third party yet. Now, the third party comes in. And you see, Libby and Jets, Libby's and Jet, they actually push at the exact same time that they engage. So as soon as the third party comes in, boom, they start running this way. Because they know that Knights are not up here anymore. They have got to be down here. So they actually go up to take some more control. I guess, I mean, but they would never have been able to get over here in time before the fight had reset again. Like, if they were to run all the way over here, by the time that this fight is done, they would probably only have been here. And then Knights, there were still 4 guys up. They could just turned around and taken a 4v3. I don't know. I'm just surprised by why Knights left this position to begin with. That's the biggest question to me. And now they're just sitting out here. They don't have to engage in this fight at all. They can just chill up in the hillsides. The only thing they have to worry about, they know that Knights are still alive. They have to keep them at bay over here, and then they lose the fight. I mean, Knights is a better fragging team than Divine. Not a whole lot more to it. They're sitting in cover. They have to push further down. They're gonna get taken out. Voxic has a nice flank. Yeah, I don't know if it's a mistake, honestly. I think they would probably have hoped that Knights wouldn't have been 4 guys alive after that fight. Like, Divine, they will just take the space that they're given, and because they see Knights push down, they will push away from the top and take a position that's further down, because they know that it's been granted now. And then they hope probably that with the fight going on over here, if the team is to swoop back, then they will have a 3v3, maybe a 3v2 in their favor, which they don't. I mean, I don't think any of the Divine players are very, like, especially good fraggers. They just play around being 4 guys alive and having good communication in team fights. Like, being able to overwhelm opponents. And Knights, they're obviously good fraggers. So, I don't think there's a whole lot more to it. I don't know. They could have pushed over, but by the time that they would have made it over, knowing, like, by the time that they know for a fact that Knights are third partying and not just hiding behind trees up here, and they push, then they wouldn't even have gotten down there in time. At least I wouldn't think so. But in the end, Ghost win the game. Huh. Interesting into the final game. So Ghost actually get 2 wins because they change up their playstyle on the final day. Was it 2 Erangel games they won? Yeah, they won North as well. They won the Yasnaya game also. So they get 2 wins. That's interesting. How early did they rotate now? They went really early to Grammar, right? Yeah, they sailed over to Grammar extremely early. That's what netted them the victory. Good job. I mean, honestly, but they get a little lucky with the circles on pharmacy, but that's part of the game. Not a whole lot more to it. That's just part of the game. All right. Green sub 72. Thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, that was the final game. How was the scores and everything? Let's see. Ghost, they get what? 1, 2, 3, 7, 11 kills. Frolicher, 700 damage and 2 kills. Feels bad, man. Yeah, he was. I don't know why they changed it. Honestly, I don't know. But I don't know. I guess I can ask them. Figure it out. You guys got what? 8, 12 kills. And in the end, Cloud90 won the game. That makes sense, but then I don't know why they play as safe as they do. If they want to focus on fragging, like why would they split 4-4 all the time, 2-2 all the time then? I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really matter either. Do we have any more other tournaments we want to look back at? GLL Season 2 Finals, ESL Meisterschaft. I don't even know what half of these things are. PGI qualifiers or Oceanic. FPP. I'm not used to call in the late game. I hope they make clear and get better. Huh. That's interesting. Hey, Mumino! Cocktaila. So, I still think this OMG win is amazing. Gotta say. I know that, I know that Moleman doesn't like the fact that OMG got those circles free. But honestly, look at this. They're sitting down here real early, right? They're sitting down here early. And they sent 2 guys up here. From here, they can... Nah, okay, they can't really scout that. But why would any other team in this game... Who should have gone down here? I guess Atletico could have taken that position. But this early in the game... I'm good, man. I'm good. We were watching PGL final day game breakdown. I'm using this program where I can draw and do things with. It's nice. It's nice. How are you doing? How are you doing? So, yeah, as I was going to say, Atletico could have taken that position. But in all honesty, with this circle, Hilltop is so much more important than this compound. You probably would have wanted to split, though. Like, McClutch, you can see he's still looting. Had they gone down here, and they would have set 2-2, would probably have been the best play. Because now they go back. I don't even know what they're doing. They're still looting. Okay. So now they come up. And by this time, they should have sent 1 guy down here. I mean, they know this is open, right? So why not send 2 guys down here? Why does Ghost not go down here? I know the Forest is good to sit in. Hilltop is good to sit in. But you might as well split it. Atletico has 4 guys on the Hilltop. As soon as the new circle pops, these guys should just have sent down people here immediately. Take it. It's open. You have been sitting here for like 4.5 minutes. But OMG, they commit to it and they get it. What would you guys say? What is the better compound? Let me know in the chat, guys. What is the better compound? Double Barns or 4-stack? What is the better compound of these two? Because Ghost obviously have both of them available. Very obviously have both of them available. I mean, they've been sitting up here, right? They've been able to look both ways. They don't even hesitate to go over here. So they must know that this is open also. What's the better compound? Anything. Don't think about what they do or where the game ends. Just overall, what's the better compound in this circle? What would you think? Double Barns or quads? I want to hear from you guys. No comments. Okay. Yeah, I think you have so much more control from over here than you do down here. Of course, from here you can take out people on the beach. But knowing that circle 4, I mean, with this circle, right? This is circle 1. Knowing that circle 4, what's the... We're discussing what is the better compound to hold this or this? I mean, open is good in the sense that it's hard to breach. You think so, Fabulous? You don't want to have hard cover, you'd rather sit up here in the open? And get all your vehicles destroyed late game? I would sit 2 guys on the hill and like just 2-2 split it. Even you could 2-1-1 split it. You can have 1 guy in Wizard, 2 guys over here, and 1 guy on the hill. And if the guy up on the hill has a bike, then he can always come down. I don't understand why Ghost, they're sitting. They sent Extreme and McCoy up here early, right? So they sent them up early. They sit Forest. They have 10 years to scout. You can see they're even running down towards yellows. They're scouting everything. Why do they decide to go for this instead of this? Because one thing is, as you say, the difference is between the buildings themselves. But think about this. Look at the circle, right? Look at the circle, especially because they don't commit to it before the new circle pops. So new circle's gonna pop. Boom. If you know for a fact, and this doesn't matter where the circle goes, if you know for a fact that the circle is going to go away from water, not the next one, but the one after, you need, I mean, in order for this not to be in this circle somehow, there's no way this compound can be in unless if it goes something like it really has to include that circle or that compound. And if it does include it, then you're going to be miles out on the edge. This, though, you can get these circles. You can't get that over here because there's water here, and it won't be in. There's no way it can be in. So you have the opportunity to pick which one you want. And it's so easy for me to sit here and say, looking back at it. But if you have the opportunity and you have scouted both of them, which I assume that both McCoy and Extreme has, then why not take this one? But even then, I mean, that doesn't matter. They still have 2 guys up here. They still have 2 players here that can rotate. They were coming in now, right? So they're driving. But why is McCoy driving down here instead of driving over here? Had he driven over here with Extreme, had they both just sent it over here, Clouds would never have gotten in. Vitality would never have pushed it because they see, like, as soon as they come up here, they see the vehicles down here. So they would never just have breached it. They go back instead to this one, instead of taking the compound over here, and it fucks them over, because look at the next circle, what happens? Next circle, boom, they're both in. But again, with water going away, this compound, there's no way this compound can be in, because if the circle goes like this, there's gonna be water in. If it can only go like this. Like, there's no way this compound can be in. Even if it goes like this, water will be in here. So there's no way that this compound can be inside the next circle. No way. It can be like on the edge, kind of like this. I know it's not a circle that I'm drawing. No, there can't be 30% water. It has to go, the circle has to go as far away from water as possible. Which means that if it doesn't have any water, no, that's wrong. Circle 4, when you when you shift from circle 3 to circle 4. I have been setting up these lobbies for like a half year. Believe me, I am 100% sure. Whenever you shrink from circle 3 to circle 4, which is going to be the next one after this one, then the circle has to include as little water as possible, which means that if you're up here, it can be anywhere. It can be anywhere up here because there's no water. As long as there's 0 water, then it can go anywhere. It can be like anywhere, not there, anywhere in here it can go. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have anything to do with anything. But as soon as there's water in, it can't. If it has an option not to have water in, for example up here, then there's no way it can go down here. It has to go not as far away from water, but it has to include as little water as possible. So if it's possible for it not to have any water at all, it's going to go there 100% sure. Sometimes there will be water in. Exactly. Sometimes there will be water in. Because this circle, had this circle been a little further south, like had this circle been here instead, then the edge of it might have been like, ugh. But that's because the computer or the algorithm figured out that this was the least amount of water that it could contain. So I'm saying again, when you see this circle pop, that's too early. When you see this circle pop, there's no way. Just you have to think 2 circles ahead, right? It's a little like chess. You have to think a few steps ahead. Unless if the next circle hard shifts like this, then it can be in. But then you're relying on a hard shift, which is dangerous, I would say. So if you take this compound, then it can be in. So this circle pops. Now the circle can go here, 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 here. Anything in here it can go to. But there's no way, unless if you get a crazy, crazy hard shift out here, that it's going to be in. And then you would still be on the edge. Whereas to this compound, you can get a circle like this. Which, in the end, if you look at it, boom, ends up happening. Because it has to include as little water as possible. And there's no water in this circle. So that's just a thought. I was just wondering. I know this is where I think it's interesting to talk to the players, because it's so easy for a caster to say, "Oh no, you should have done this." But there's so much, like there's so much thinking and so many things that goes into the thought process of picking where you want to go. And I don't know what was the reason. It could be, like you said, because Balog and Frolicher, or Balog and Frolicher, they were still driving up here, and they wanted, like McCoy wanted to be close to them in case they were gonna get killed on their rotation. So he wanted to be close so that they could get them rest. That would make sense. But they left though. Look at this. M19, they come down. Then you have M19 here, but they leave again. I mean, they drive away before any of that happens. So Balog and the guys, they take fire here. They're probably getting shot at from this area. But as soon as they're here, now they're not going to take fire. So McCoy goes down to help. I guess that could be the reason why. So McCoy goes down to help in case they get knocked. And by the time he goes down here, the other compound is already taken by OMG. That's probably the only logical explanation. That he wanted to be able to help them in case their vehicle gets popped. I don't know how much HP their vehicle had, but as you can see, they're taking fire from like probably here and here. So he wanted to come down and be able to pick up his teammates should shit go sideways. That would make sense. Yeah, that's probably the only, not obvious, but sort of a reason that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, that was that.